Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my incredibly handsome co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
Oi, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't like it so much whenever she says good morning and I go, oi. It's always like a slight jump back first thing in the morning.
Neither did the people of London when I was out there for my honeymoon. When I would just walk around and go,
I don't know why.
She stretches to life, throws her arms in the air, just waking up. Good morning.
Oi.
Just
Isn't it, Grove?
my enthusiasm for the morning. We got some people in the chat ready for today. My man Matt, Better Boss down here, says rise and shine.
Well. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. We got Tommy in the chat with a nice little rhyme for us today. He said, Peyton to the Broncos. I'm shaking at the knees. Too bad he has Russ and not Drew Brees.
ha
Ha.
Will Smith on him.
And we got Jolly Rancher in here saying, you guys rock. What's up, Mom? Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Well, it is bright and early on February 1st, the first day of February 2023. It's cold as hell where I am, but we are getting ready for the Pro Bowl this weekend and the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Craig over here saying, morning, fellas. Jalen Simon, did you know the Baseball Hall of Fame is named after your other co-host?
Cooperstown.
Jay Ellington?
Andre Ellington?
How cold is cold as hell in San Antonio?
31 degrees is the low today.
It was 33 approximately 5 minutes ago in
It's
our
still
meeting. It's now
33.
31.
No. Did you listen to the words I said, or did you not
No.
listen to the words I
Clearly
said?
not. Clearly not.
I said,
Is that a
31.
condescending sentence or is that not a condescending sentence?
Well, I felt a little condescended to right after I said 31 is the low today, and you came in and said, well, it was 33 5 minutes ago, but I guess the temperature's dropped 2 degrees since then. You're going to get on me for being condescending, and you immediately jump down my throat.
Checks out. 31, 33. That's a big difference.
No, we got a low of 31.
It's 18 degrees here right now. Feels kind of nice.
Yeah, well, you expect that. This is the warmest jacket I own, Coop.
That's it right there.
I know it is.
That's your winter jacket.
This is my winter jacket. This is all I got. That's the extent.
Hey, it's 31 here.
Oh, well, maybe I was just
low of 28.
Whoa.
Thank you for giving me a joke.
High of 38.
Joey in here says it's a shame hanging with Mr. Cooper was already taken. Would have been a great name for a morning show.
Maybe we can bring it back, dude. Maybe they do like the throwbacks, the revivals, but it'll just be me.
Just you alone,
Just
and
me.
you only.
Just being like, and I never actually watched that other show, so it would be hard to recreate for me by myself without having seen it. But I'll do my best.
It'll be called Not Hanging with Mr. Cooper if it's just you. Just here's Mr. Cooper and no one's hanging with him.
Lonely Mr. Cooper.
Wonder what I'm gonna do today. Craig in here said, jail does that out of love, Simon. It's up for debate. We'll see. And Tommy in here saying Cooper and Cooper, Andrew and Alice. You and Alice Cooper running a show, Coop. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that would rock. Ow! Except for he rocks. He rocks perhaps a little harder.
Fix your car, maybe.
He rocks a little harder than me, I imagine. He kind of ruined the name Alice for any daughters I might have, right? You can't really name your daughter Alice now if your last name's Cooper.
Yeah, probably not.
I was gonna say you could use Alice, but then I completely forgot the premise of this conversation, which is that your last name is Cooper.
Right. Yeah. So
you can't really do it.
Adolf also ruined for everyone.
Different reason. Yeah, not just for Cooper, for everybody.
Is it time to bring that back yet, though? I mean,
absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. Guys, it is that time of morning. I hope you brought something to eat. We got everything else. We got the stories. We got the topics. You just got to bring your own breakfast. Let us know in the chat what you're having bright and early this morning. Jail, you got some juice or you got a little something extra this morning?
A nice bagel.
Wow.
Mama G would be so proud.
Yeah, that I got my everything bagel with cream cheese.
What kind of cream cheese?
It's just like you're on the right path.
At least you're eating something.
It's jalapeno cream cheese.
I have a question for you guys.
He's Jolly P every time.
When you go to a bagel shop and they have schmear, is that the same thing as cream cheese?
We'd have to ask Keith. He lives in New
Absolutely
York.
not.
I feel like New York people don't let you talk about bagels. They're like, shut up about bagels.
Yeah, you bring up, they're like, you don't even know what a bagel is. And you know what? They're right if you've only had bagels from like the grocery store. But they are condescending about it. And Keith screaming in the chat, it's a schmear of cream cheese. Gotcha. Sometimes I see schmear on the menu and I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, why you say that in all caps? Very upset. When I hear schmear, I don't know why. I always immediately think of lox, like the little like salmon that you put on bagels. You like that?
Yeah, it's delicious. It's salty and smoky and yummy.
I don't know if I've ever had it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's no just jalapeno cream cheese, but with a little bit of smoked salmon on there, it's absolutely delicious. Guys, it's that time of morning. I'm going to kick us off with some news bright and early. And that's what the big story from yesterday. We talked about how DeMeco Ryans was turning down the Broncos head coaching job. They'd been turned down by their first and second choice. Well, they went back to their first choice or their second first choice. And Sean Payton will be the next head coach of the Denver Broncos. Denver is sending a 2023 first-round pick and next year's second-round pick for Sean Payton and the Saints' 2024 third. This coming to us from Adam Schefter. So it looks like Sean Payton's joining the Broncos.
It's
Pretty crazy.
Pretty wild. Now, the question, this what makes it crazy is because typically when a team hires a coach, you're like, oh, I like it, I don't like it. In this case, everyone would like it if they were able to just hire them. The question is, do you think it's worth trading a first-round pick, in this case, multiple picks for a coach?
We've talked about it before. You as the coach have to be conflicted because, of course, you want to call for a lot of compensation, right? You want to be worth that amount to give up, but you're also kind of hamstringing yourself with giving up those picks.
Mm-hmm. And now they've given up, the grand total is 3 firsts and 3 seconds to acquire Sean Payton and Russell Wilson.
Now, one of those firsts is the one that they got from trading Bradley Chubb, right? So we could almost look at this deal that they're doing now as Bradley Chubb plus a second for Sean Payton plus a third.
Yeah, which, I mean, they weren't going to pay Bradley Chubb
Exactly.
gazillion dollars that he needed. So kind of interesting. I mean, the thing that Broncos fans at least can hang their hat on is that we've seen this before. And if Sean Payton is truly a great coach, which a lot of people believe he is, it's worked out for the teams that have done it. The Patriots traded a first-round pick for Bill Belichick. He has big handfuls of rings. John Gruden was traded from the Raiders to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers then won the Super Bowl. So I guess at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. If they win the Super Bowl, it was a good trade. If they don't, it wasn't.
Yeah,
there you go.
It comes down to that. And I think this, with what they gave up for Russell Wilson, I kind of said it yesterday, talking about how the new head coach, whoever it was going to be, if it wasn't someone they traded picks for, I didn't think they had a leash. Because with what they traded for Russell Wilson, the compensation he has, they have to go all in. They have to say, we will win a Super Bowl with this quarterback, with this next head coach. And that's what this move does. It goes all in on their current roster, right? All in on Russell Wilson, all in on Sean Payton. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get it done.
It's a hell of a double down. That's for sure.
Yeah. And now everybody's got to learn another playbook. So the Broncos, obviously had a playbook in place. Nathaniel Hackett comes in, brings his playbook. Now Sean Payton brings his in. So a lot of learning going on over there for guys like Jerry Jeudy, who got a 9 on the Wonderlic. So we'll have to see if these guys can get up to speed quick enough. Not that easy.
Sean Payton was asked about Russell Wilson. This came from Jeff Duncan, an article he put out. And he said, Russell Wilson is a hard worker and has played at a high level and won a lot of games. The pressure is on us to put a good run game together and reduce the degree of difficulty on his position. I'm excited about it. But that wasn't just straight like gassing him up. Know what I mean? Like he said, he's been great in the past. And like then said, it wasn't good here last year. And it's our job to make it easier for him. Like, let's get that run game established, not just make this the rush show.
Yeah, that's I like that comment. Smart.
Me too. It's not putting his players under the bus, but it's also not saying everything's hunky-dory, we're good to go, Russ is the greatest of all time. It's real.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned DeMeco Ryans. He actually found a landing spot himself. He will be the coach of the Houston Texans' 6-year contract, and he played for the Texans for a good chunk of his career, was an inside linebacker. Said he's happy to be back there. His family's happy to be back in H-Town is what he said, so they got to be pretty pleased about that. Didn't have to give up a boatload of picks for it either. So pretty good landing spot for him. How do you guys feel about it?
I like it. I like the hire. I think it's going to work out, but with a 6-year contract, they better hope it works out.
Now, the thing that I was kind of thinking about with the coach contracts is like, we say like, oh yeah, 6-year contract, all that stuff, but you can still fire that guy. You just have to pay him, and it's not like it counts against the cap. And also, these guys are all billionaires, so it's almost like, yeah, fine, whatever you want, and then I'll just fire you and we'll pay you, and then I'll go on, I'll pull that money out of the couch cushions or whatever, right? Like $1 billion is $1,000 million, right? Like most of these owners, who cares, right? Pay whatever you have to the coaches. If it doesn't cost picks, it doesn't cost salary cap, then in my opinion, who cares? So to me, 6 years sounds like a big deal. Who cares?
Yeah, we see it. We see coaches get fired well before their contracts are done pretty regularly. Matt Rule, see ya.
Right, yeah. The Texans owner, Janice McNair, has $5 billion. She has $5,000 million, right? If she has to give this guy $30 million, right? Just like coaching. Fire him and pay him $30 million. What? Oh no, she only has $4,970 million left. Like what? Like that's just ridiculous, dude. Who cares, right? That's so. My opinion is, yeah, who cares? Give him a 50-year coaching deal, right? Like get whatever. Like I can't imagine a situation where Janice McNair would say, "Nah, we can't hire this coach. We can't get the best coach possible because I'd have to pay them too much money, which doesn't count against the salary cap." Like, no, shut up, dude.
They're going to go get the best option available. And yeah. Coop, from what you were talking about, DeMeco Ryans, it does sound like, from what he's saying, this is a destination job for him, coming back to the team where he spent a lot of his NFL career. Said this was a dream job, not just a stop. So we'll see. And I think you've mentioned it. They're setting up to do the rebuild correctly there. So he's going into what may not look like a wildly attractive coaching position, but he'll probably have a little bit of wiggle room there. I don't think he's going to be on the hot seat immediately with the roster that he's stepping into, and with him being a Texans man, right? Like they want a Texans man to work out for that job.
Yeah, and they saw a little bit of winning culture there, JL, right? They had that winning culture where you're thinking,
I love me a winning culture.
You're thinking real hard about it, taking games to the wire, sometimes even winning them. So
yeah, every once in a while, that winning culture turns into a winning team.
Seen it in Detroit. Do you think they can? What kind of turnaround do you think a team like the Texans you could expect, JL? Like if you were to kind of, like for instance, the Lions, they tanked, right? Then they started the rebuild, only won 3 games. This year, they were on the verge of the playoffs. Next year, we expect them to compete for the playoffs. What do you think the Texans' timeline might look like in terms of that?
At least a few years behind the Lions. They have a lot of holes. Their situation is different. It's not as easy as it's not like a fantasy team where I guess fantasy teams are different too, but it's not one where you could just say, okay, make these moves and you're good to go, because each team has a different cap situation. Each team has a different pick situation. Texans are quite over leveraged, so I think it'll take a few years.
So 2023 is kind of a blow it up, and then 2024 you start building it, and then compete in 2025. You think something like that?
I think that's a reasonable timeline. What do you guys think they do at the quarterback position? I think that'll determine how long this rebuild takes.
So that's what I was going to bring up next, because I agree with you, Jayl. I agree on that timeline, and with that plus them hiring a defensive-minded head coach here, it makes me think that they're not going quarterback with that top 2 pick in this year's draft. That maybe they don't love CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. They're going to go. There's some high-end defensive talent at the top of this draft as well. There's a real chance maybe Will Anderson falls to the 2. They can pick him up right there instead. I could see them grabbing a defensive player at the top of this draft, or trading back, grabbing a defensive player, and then evaluating quarterbacks for next season in the draft, especially if they're planning on having a top 10 pick again next year. I think they roll with what's on the roster, or bring in a cheap vet on a 1-year deal one more time and then draft a quarterback in 2024.
Just seeing how important quarterback is, like, I'm starting to be in the camp of like just draft him every single year until you get one that's amazing. Like the Cardinals did. Josh Rosen 1 year, didn't work, whatever. Next year, Kyler Murray. Like, I'd be on board. Draft a quarterback this year. If you have to, draft another one next year. Just get that guy and figure the rest out later. That's starting to become my opinion on it, because I mean, Tom Brady said it. Looking at the 49ers, didn't have quarterback, can't compete.
Tom Brady said that?
Tom Brady said that. Yeah, he said looking at that game this week. I mean, their situation is a little different because their quarterback got hurt, so it's not like, you know, it was like, oh, they didn't have the quarterback on the roster, so couldn't compete. But they also weren't going to win that game with Josh Johnson. So the point that it got, once Josh Johnson was in there, the game was over, you know? So that's kind of how it goes in this league. Maybe Tom Brady is campaigning for himself a little bit, saying,
I was going to say how he actually said it was, if only you had a quarterback who could throw the ball, maybe you'd be in the Super Bowl. Looked back over his shoulder to see if the 49ers were looking at him.
But it generally is that. I mean, that's how you have sustainable success, right? So I'm in the camp of just draft one now and then draft another one. And if you have to draft another one and just keep going. And then once you get that player, then figure the rest. Then you start building the rest.
Then you got 5 years to build the rest. Go. Good luck.
Go.
Then you give him the Patrick Mahomes deal, 110-year deal.
NKC in here saying, hi, good morning. What's up, NKC?
Good morning,
my
NKC.
friend. And Joey said the Texans have the premier running back in the league. Hashtag workhorse.
Rex Burkhead?
Rex Burkhead.
Yeah.
Knew it.
Nobody
Speaking
more
of
premier than
quarterback
Rex.
news. I hate this. I hate this so much. Old Rap Sheet came in yesterday and gave us the news that the Ravens will be franchise tagging quarterback Lamar Jackson this offseason. He apparently adds that his sense is that it would be an exclusive franchise tag, which would prevent the other teams from signing him.
Yeah, you got to give him the exclusive, because the other one is the non-exclusive franchise tag, also known as the transition tag. The way that works is another team can sign that player. They have to give up 2 first-round picks, and you can match whatever they offer the guy. But basically what that would do in Lamar Jackson's case is you would either lose him immediately because a team is willing to give up 2 first-round picks for him, which they will, or
Lamar Jackson.
Right. Or some team comes in and says, we would give him $55 million a year. And then you have to turn around and match that, or else you lose him. So all you're doing by giving him the transition tag is guaranteeing that you pay him the top of the market, right? So that's why you just franchise tag him. I think it's like $40 million, which could be worse. He's probably asking for a lot more than that if they're going to tag him. So got to do what you got to do, Ravens.
Well, and it's probably, even if he's asking for around that number, he's asking for a multi-year deal with guaranteed money. You know what I mean? Not just 1 year of $40 million on that franchise tag. It'll be interesting. Do you think he's going to play on it, Jail? I know he's talked in the past about not playing without a new deal. And this is a tag. It's not a new deal.
I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50 at this point. That's all. As far as we know, it's too early to tell.
Yeah, we'll have to listen to what he's saying. Maybe he doesn't show up to some of the camps, but we get him out there for week 1 of the season. But this is disappointing. I was hoping we would be done talking about the Lamar Jackson contract situation, that they would realize, oh, we need this dude, sign him to a long-term deal, and then call it a day.
Once they signed Roquan Smith to that massive deal, I was worried this was going to happen.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You're going to be tough.
What if
they've got a Pro Bowl QB on the roster right behind them, so maybe they're not as incentivized to get the deal done.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley added to the Pro
Tyler
Bowl.
Huntley.
What if Lamar Jackson came out and said, yeah, I'll play, but I'm not running?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know that that this team would be built for that though.
If he's like, sorry, I got to worry about my future. I'm only on a 1-year deal.
I get it.
Can't risk getting hurt, so I'm not running.
I get that. Totally get that.
That's what I would do. I'd be a huge brat.
Craig in here said piercing analysis, fellas, talking about our Rex Burkhead.
What do you roll dice?
there.
Oh, I get it.
Damian Pierce.
I get it, Craig.
Got him.
That one took me a minute. That one did not come to me very quickly.
As according to Matt Barrows on Twitter, Nick Bosa, when asked about the Hurts versus Mahomes matchup, said that'll be a good battle that I won't be watching.
Got him. That's the classic.
Weird.
Not
Weird behavior. He's not going to watch the game. Yeah, right.
You're not going to watch the Super Bowl, Nick? Really?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl?
No,
I don't lost, buddy.
I don't watch football.
Nick, come watch the Super Bowl.
No, it's not. It's not even fun.
Those
Football's not even fun to watch.
Those Bosa boys are brats, like me.
Everybody's a brat.
Me.
What's he gonna do?
Nick Bosa.
Joe,
Joey Bosa.
What's Nick Bosa gonna do instead of watching the Super Bowl?
He's probably gonna play Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. What kind of Animal Crossing player is he? Do you think?
Oh, the menace kind.
He goes evil. Can you go evil in that game?
You can run around swacking your neighbors with a bug net until they move off your island.
Hell yeah, dude.
You can just bully people into moving. That's kind of evil.
That's no question he does that. Did you ever do that?
Yeah. You do that to get the neighbors that you like in Animal Crossing. You bully them until they leave, and then if you don't like the new one, you do it again. And then once you get one you like, you send them presents so they stay.
Kind of like real life.
Kind of. And Coop's like, I've been curating my neighbors for years.
Exactly.
Working on the one next door.
Just mowing like big dicks in their yard. And I'm like, oh man. must be some sort of mold. Yeah. There's like a line. There's a line going in and out of my yard. And I'm like, yeah. Looks like it's spreading into my yard too. You might want to take care of your stuff over there.
Get your dick mowed here. Get your dick mowed
here. This is the whole line of all the neighbors.
That's so weird. Looks like it's escaping your yard into my yard. You might want to take care of that.
Your other next door neighbor is mowing little dicks into the yard.
You're just sorting them.
He noticed a gap in your business model, and came through and said, "I'll cover the extra."
Well, that's a neighbor I like to keep, Ron. He mows a mean dick. I like having him around. He's good to have on the team.
An entrepreneur at heart, that Ron guy.
Oh, Ron.
Right. Can we stop with all this nonsense news? Can we talk about the real news now? The real news of the day?
Absolutely not.
No. Can we talk about the big news?
Tell us.
Did you guys hear what Arian Foster said?
No.
Shut up.
I really didn't.
Dude, Arian Foster went on some podcast. I don't know what it's even called, but the background says macro dosing, right? So it looks like a pretty smart podcast. And he said the NFL is rigged and that they would literally give them a script to follow like every year at the start of the year. Which the amazing thing from this clip is not just the clip itself, but the quote tweets from all the people, including players around the league, about the league being scripted. Like, for instance, Marlon Humphrey from JL's Ravens said, that's right. He's right. Me giving up 200 yards to Chase was me just following the script. Or like, people posting stuff like, like memes of people being all pissed off. It's like Brett Maher learning that he needs to miss 4 straight extra point attempts in a row. Like, it's just all the memes spawn from this. But if you watch the clip, it's like Arian Foster just kind of, it seems like it's good.
Is he just like trying to get clicks? Is that what this is?
Dude, if you look at it's clearly some sort of conspiracy theory podcast. If you look in the background, it says macro dosing, and under that is a picture of like an alien spaceship beaming people up. But I don't know.
I'm just wondering, does he actually believe that is the truth because he
And
lived
who
it,
the
right?
hell was handing him a script?
Yeah,
I mean,
if that is the case, who was trying to script Arian
Here's the-
Foster's career?
Maybe the coaches told him it was scripted, and they would hand him sheets that would be like, "Yeah, and this week you're getting a 200-yard game." Like,
Yeah,
so,
this week, yeah, a great week.
Producer
He
Keith
goes, I'm like,
says
Coach, they're not following the script on the defense.
he was just looking at his projections on Yahoo. The producer keeps saying that's the playbook, Arian. Yeah, I mean, like if it is scripted, I mean, he's probably pissed off that the script called for him to tear his groin every single year for like 6 years in a row, right?
Scripted.
That was all scripted.
I just love the idea of even believing that, like the amount of things that have to be true, the amount of people that need to be in on it for that to be possible. Know what I mean? If the entire thing is scripted to the point where players get handed a script before the season starts, that means thousands and thousands and thousands of NFL players would have to have had never said anything. A copy of the script, electronic or physical, would have never had to escape the hands of one of these thousands and thousands of individuals that were not hired for their ability to remain confidential or their secrecy or went through any sort of clearance. Know what I mean? Like something would have gotten out. You don't even have to
surrounded by press.
100% something would have gotten down, dude. Like how can, since some of these guys are getting fired after like 5 games, like you wouldn't think one of those dudes would be like, yeah, it's all rigged, right? Like these guys are saying ridiculous stuff all the time. One person wouldn't come out and be like, yeah, by the way, it's all fake. Like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Like they're holding out on a contract, and they wouldn't be like, by the way,
I'll
the
tell
entire thing's scripted.
I'll tell.
Don't tell them. You better pay me this big contract, or else I'll tell them.
Yeah, that's clearly not how it works, dude. We wouldn't have ex NFL players going through like bankruptcy and stuff because they would just be like,
yeah, I know a secret.
Yeah, no. I think he's doing it. Maybe these are his buddies or something, but you know.
I mean, look at the WWE. That got found out so quick, right? Everybody realized that was fake.
Are you sure? You sure that a dude with like a sock on his hand couldn't like mesmerize people? You sure that part wasn't true?
Also, Tim said the government had 70 years of UFO documents that they kept secret. So that is the government with government employees and not the
documents.
NFL with Cole Beasley in the league. Like you're telling me if Cole Beasley had access to those UFO files, we would have heard about them.
Yeah, or if your government workers are really Antonio Brown.
Right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like I think Antonio Brown's keeping the secret. Hell no.
We should do a conspiracy theory segment with Tim Wright. I could see him having a few up his sleeve. He jumps right in and says, well, the government.
Joey in here said demographic report for you. The Knot got a big laugh from his 3 and 6-year-old. Mowing dicks was crickets for them, but he laughed pretty loud. So you know where our target audience is.
Forgot about that portion of our audience.
No, we're a family show. We have jokes for everybody.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep the D talk to a minimum.
Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we're not so good, but
A little early for that.
we try, and that's what matters.
That D chatter. But yeah, I don't think it's rigged. Arian Foster, I don't know, man. Watching the clip, he's like he's like, oh yeah, we would get a script. He could easily turn around and be like, I was talking about the game script, guys.
You think that's what he's gonna do? He's gonna pull a 180?
I think he's just helping his buddies out. He must be friends with these macro dosing fellas.
I don't know if I don't think you have to pull a 180 anymore. You can just say whatever the hell you want and double down, and there's no consequence.
Nobody remembers.
Yeah.
So I bet he just rolls with it. He probably doesn't even mention it anymore. Like he just said it, throws it into the ether for thousands of people to be pissed about and talk about, and he's on to today, man.
Right.
He's got nothing else to say.
That is the easy way to do it. Just be like, that was a long time ago. Like, dude, that was yesterday. That was yesterday at 4:00.
That was Tuesday. That was last month, man.
Maybe he thought no one would see it, but my God, everybody has seen it. So there you go, except you two.
I mean, yeah.
But now you have.
I saw a stat yesterday that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. 21 offensive players did not miss a snap last season, so played every single snap. This is coming from Joel Corey on Twitter. 20 of the 21 were offensive linemen.
Oh, linemen.
So 20 of the 21 were offensive linemen. The one player who was not an offensive lineman that played every single snap last season was Geno Smith, quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. He was the only non-offensive lineman to play every single snap.
Geno. The thing is, there are more, because I do the snap count articles over on Fantasy Alarm, and there are more players that virtually play every offensive snap.
Someone comes out to take a knee or something like that.
Exactly. Someone goes out to take a knee, or like, you run some razzle dazzle play. Like, all it takes for you to not play every single offensive snap is for a team to have, like, think about the end of the Cowboys game, this playoff game, where they just like came out in that weird formation where there was only 2 linemen and it was all the fastest guys on the team, and they were going to try and do like a bunch of like flea flickers. It takes one play like that where you take Trent Williams out of the game, and now Trent Williams played every snap except one. So there's probably a lot of guys out there that played virtually every snap, And
Gino's walking around going, "Congratulations on virtually playing every snap, guys. That's pretty virtually impressive."
Pretty cool. Yeah, that just meant that the Seahawks weren't good enough to put in the backups at any point. And there's it's kind of crazy that I think about that often, where it's like I'm looking at this and we talk about like wide receivers and running backs. Like if a running back plays like 60% of the snaps, we're like, oh, amazing, gorgeous. But like these linemen are in there every single play, just like headbutting and kicking and scratching and spitting all over each other, like thousands of plays. Literally, most linemen play over 1,000 plays in a season, which is wild. Well over 1,000 for some.
Those are big guys.
That's a lot of fighting.
Those are big, tough guys.
That's probably why Trent Williams came out and said he's not ruling out retirement. And they asked him, and he was like, it does get pretty grueling. That's a direct Trent Williams quote. So there you go. And that's probably part of it, dude. Just like imagine how exhausting that can be when you know the other person is better than you, or that's a very tough matchup to be like, I got to fist fight this guy 50 times today.
Yeah, you're lined across from some absolute hoss, and after the first time, like, oh, dear God, this is just the first one.
Right.
Everyone else is getting to play a fun game, and you're over here just fighting Aaron Donald over and over and over.
In the back of your mind, yeah, like you're like, all right, we average 60 snaps a game, but maybe we'll have a fumble at some point, only 50-55. Which means I have 54 more of these to go.
Like freaking Debo out here running routes, catching touchdowns. Looks like fun. Yeah. And I have to fist fight Aaron Donald for the next 3 hours.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, if I was one of those guys, man, and I'm on the field goal team and we're about to kick a field goal to go into overtime, maybe I'm pulling a quick ole. You know what I mean? Why don't you go ahead?
Also, he has had as long of a season as possible the past 2 years without making it to the Super Bowl. So all of those extra snaps, all of those extra plays with no payoff of making it to the big dance as well, right? That's got to be frustrating too. Like you're putting your body through something so grueling. You're so close 2 years in a row. All those extra games on your system. Wasn't the 1 seed this year, so had that even additional wild card game. It's got to be kind of brutal. Mentally, emotionally, physically.
Kind of brutal, dude. Definitely crazy brutal. Let's see. Who led the league in snaps this year? Shaq Mason this year played 1,199 snaps.
That's a lot of snaps.
It's a lot of fist fights, dude. Yeah.
How long do you think it would take me to do that many snaps?
Oh,
now it looks like I was snapping for him as if he was a performer at a poetry night. I was just trying to get to 1,000 snaps, seeing how long it would take me.
Cheers to you, Shaq Mason. Cheers to you.
Snip, snap.
Snip, snap.
Did you guys see what Aaron Rodgers had to say on the Pat McAfee show yesterday?
No.
He had some comments about playing next year whenever asked about it. So he told Pat McAfee that he still hasn't decided if he's going to play football in 2023. He said that it's going to be a little bit more time for my decision. I feel confident that in a couple weeks, I'll feel definitely more strongly about one of 2 decisions.
Who said that?
Aaron Rodgers. And let me read it for you one more time in case you missed it there. It said, it's going to be a little bit more time for my decision. I feel confident that in a couple of weeks, I'll feel definitely more strongly about one of 2 decisions.
So he said nothing. What a dweeb. He also
didn't even say nothing. He said, not nothing, But in 2 weeks, it'll probably maybe not be nothing anymore sometimes.
The thing is he thinks that he just out-chessed the entire public with that. Like he thinks he's so smart for saying that, and that everybody's tricked. Like, what the heck did Aaron mean?
He's like when your uncle pulls out a riddle on Thanksgiving. And you're just like, all right. We passed the gravy, dude.
Let's get wetter as it dries. And like a towel. And he's like, how the hell did you know that one?
Hey, give me another beer. He also said, it sounds like there's already conversations going on that aren't involving me, which are interesting. Rodgers said he still take his time, and then said, but I'm not part of those conversations right now.
I feel like he thinks like anytime someone brings up a conversation that he wasn't a part of, whether he knows the person or not, he's like, and why wasn't I a part of this conversation?
And are you talking about me?
And he exactly, dude. Yeah, like so he wasn't part of the conversations, but he knows they're going on. That sounds quite a bit like, I know you guys are talking about me.
And also, maybe team ownership and team coaching is having conversations about the quarterback of their team without said quarterback, right? It might be easier to discuss the options. Are we bringing him back or are we not? Without having him there.
It's like Survivor. There's like a group of people and they're like, yeah, we're voting out Aaron this week, right? And then Aaron walks over and they're like, coconuts, right, my guys? Like, let's go see what we can find. Like, maybe that's how he knew, because they changed the subject right when he walked in the room.
Well, in a couple of weeks, we'll have to check back in to see which one of the two decisions he's definitely more strongly feeling about.
Yeah. Don't care.
As Jay Cutler would say. Don't care.
Don't care.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Aaron Rodgers trying to just be in the center of attention again. Because I feel like this is just becoming predictable. It's like every 2 weeks, if he's not the main news cycle, main part of the news cycle, then he feels like he needs to be.
Exactly. Shut your mouth, dude. Like, think about it. Did Ben Roethlisberger do this? Did Drew Brees do this? No, dude. No. Like
let us know when you make a decision, guy.
They're like Ben Roethlisberger, legit. Like every year, people speculated about whether he was done or not, but he just showed up. And then one year, he finally said, "Hey, I'm done. Thank you." You know what I mean? There was no podcasts. There was no ayahuasca.
And at least to get attention, Brett Favre committed millions of dollars of fraud against the state of Mississippi, not just went on a podcast and acted like a baby.
Right.
Like,
right.
Step up to the plate, Aaron Rodgers. If you want us to hate us, if you want to be in the news,
commit a felony.
Commit arson.
This is not legal or financial advice.
Arson Rodgers.
Just don't harm anyone physically, please.
Or do what the true goats do and just retire. Just say, I retire. And then just come back whenever you want, dude. Like Brady and Michael Jordan and Brett Favre.
And Cole Beasley.
Dude. Just retire and then unretire, dude.
The greats.
Yeah. Come out with a rap album.
Yeah, Aaron. Come out with a rap album. What's taking you so long?
We were waiting. Imagine if he came out with a rap album and it was just fire. Like that's the timeline nobody considers. Like that he just comes out with one and everyone's like, this is gonna suck. And then you listen to it and you're like, oh my God.
Album of the year.
That's when I believe Arian Foster. That's when I pull Arian Foster's clip back up and go, you know what, maybe this is scripted.
Who would be the most surprising NFL player to just drop an absolute fire mixtape?
Rodrigo Blankenship.
The blanket tapes.
Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph, dude. He's already practiced saying the N-word, right?
I'm sticking with goggles. I'm sticking with goggles on that one, Rodrigo. Tommy said Hunter Renfro for that one.
Matthew Slater.
Dustin in the chat said, good morning, Simon, JL, and Coop.
Heyo, Dustin. Good morning. I got mentioned today, so maybe it's far enough from me sending Dustin's favorite team to Toronto. Have I been forgiven yet, Dustin? Am I almost back?
Yeah, I'm gone. Toronto Bills. Did you guys see Jamal Williams talking about being fined for dancing?
I did see that. I love that man. Everything he says, I'm just like I can't not read it in his voice either. Like I see him saying it. The visuals are perfect.
He said, honestly, I feel like I'm doing nothing wrong. They just being weenies. I just feel like they're trying to take my personality away, my joy. So now when I score, I'm literally just going to sit down and pout like a little baby or something.
Like a little baby. Like you could hear, it's literally exactly it. I mean, weenies is the perfect thing to call them too. Because it's not It's not harmful, but it explains exactly what they're doing. They're just being weenies. Like
Just being weenies.
That is funny, man. That is.
He's got
funny.
away with words. He's got away with words. And you know what? That's going to do so much more. Like, that hurts the people who made that decision more than the people who are like, F these guys. Like, they hate me. It's rigged, the system. I'm never paying these fines. Jamal Williams out here like, weenies? I'm going to cry in the end zone.
Right.
Like, that's going to get under their skin. Probably not, because they don't care at all. But if anything would, it's this.
If you find me $10,000, I wouldn't sit there and be like, they just being weenies. I would be pissed.
Now, $10,000 to you is different than $10,000 to Jamal Williams.
It's like me being fined $10, which I would be pissed about.
Yeah, I would be pissed. I've gone to war over a $20 parking ticket at Clemson. Like full on, like it took weeks and weeks to resolve. I was not going to let it go.
You got to take them. You got to take them down. You got to fight the system.
I parked in a visitor spot in my mom's car that I borrowed on Clemson's campus, and they gave me a ticket saying that the car belonged to a student. And I said, can you prove the car belonged to a student? It's registered to my mother's name. And I said, do you have a photo of me driving said car? They said, no, we do not. We just know you were driving it. I was like, okay, well, that seems weird. What if my mom was on campus that day? She is a visitor driving her car, that it's registered to her. And they kept trying to fight me, and I appealed it, and I appealed it. I had to appeal it 3 times.
Simon up in there like, objection.
And they would ask me, like, were you driving the car? And I'd be like, that's irrelevant.
Were you driving the car?
Were you under oath when they asked you?
No. Traffic court isn't, or Clemson University Parking Services Court isn't quite on the same level as like even traffic court.
No, it's on the same level as the cafeteria.
You just like walk into an office and fight with a lady behind her desk.
Classic, man. Yeah,
to be fair, she's very mean.
You fight with her too, JL?
I never did.
Would you rather fight Aaron Donald for 50 snaps or the parking services lady at Clemson once?
Parking services lady. She's not Aaron Donald.
I would pick Aaron Donald for that game check.
Coop's like, I'm not making it more than 1 snap anyways. And
I'm getting one
for the whole game.
1 snap, 1 game check.
Coop, quick question for you.
So,
would you rather get hit in the face by a 2x4 or, Jill, what was the other option?
who's swinging the 2x4?
Would you rather take a 2x4 to the face or
why can't I remember what the other option was? Oh, throw out your back.
Throw out your back. That's what it was.
Oh man, that's the thing.
Imagine average human strength swinging the 2x4. Like it's a guy who played basketball in high school, but now he's 27.
Give me
varsity basketball. He lettered.
I'll tell you right now. Give me the 2x4, just because, like as Tony Romo once famously said, do you know anyone that used to have a bad back? Those back problems, once they get going, kind of tough to reverse. So, yeah, give me the 2x4, man.
I'm with you. Tommy said, "Well, 100% break your face. I will take the back." And Dustin said, "Throw out your back as well." So we got some throw out your backers in the chat.
I don't know, man. They can fix faces these days. I feel. Fixing
my
backs,
thought process is like
it's a little more complicated.
Like you get hit in the face, it's like a one-time type of thing. Like it hurts like immediately. But
don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying, Joe, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's just gonna stop hurt." Like it's a different pain when you like tear up your arm or something, or you get a bruise on your shin. It's not constant. Yeah, you bump it and you're reminded.
It's not chronic.
Right.
Back pain is
the word.
Back pain is chronic, which to me is much worse. Give me the pain in the moment. I'll be fine. I'll heal. Yeah, the back pain, throwing out your back. Yeah, eventually you'll heal, but it's gonna suck for weeks.
Yeah, as long as you don't lose an eye or anything, that would be permanent. But
yeah,
that's a risk.
That's why I feel like the argument keeps going for anybody on the other side. Is like, well, what did you guys say yesterday, Simon? It's like, what if you get splinters in your face? It's like, okay, well, now you're getting beyond the question.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm taking the 2x4. Tommy said, what if it breaks your nose and orbital socket? Well, I don't know what an orbital socket is, so I can't break that. Tommy.
Yeah. What if you twist your back and it snaps completely?
Like, orbital's up here and the oracle's down here.
Oracle's up here.
more coherent.
Linux is down here.
What if you throw out your back and then get hit by an 18-wheeler? Huh?
Yeah. Then what?
Then what?
Then I'm taking the 2x4.
What if you get by a 2x4 and you fall down and get run over by an 18-wheeler? Gotta take the back. Gotta take
Checkmate, atheist.
Gotta go with the back on that one.
Guys, coming up, we're going to share some unpopular opinions with you. We're going to play some fantasy detective, and we got some hypothetically coming your way as well. And then, is Trade Daddy coming on with us, or are we talking about Trade Daddy's trade charts without him?
I think it's just us.
Just us. Trade Daddy leaving us unattended, and we're throwing a trade party today. But Peaked in High School's trade charts will come up a little bit later today as well. And coming up shortly, we're going to be solving the Weddle together for the day. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that, because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like, how dare you? He smacked the globe. He was like, what do you
all
mean?
the hard work we've done.
2023, geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is Algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad, Ray. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like, it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%.
drink.
That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But, Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the Clear Pass. You know,
Yeah,
at the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game. And that game is Weddle.
Well, JL's not here, so I have to say something like beans, I imagine.
Yeah, could you? Yeah, let's try it again. It's in the game.
Beans.
Perfect.
It's
It's like JL was in the room.
It's like he never left. Now that JL's gone, we can sneak in a little hockey talk.
Yeah, how about that puck?
My Bruins I had to wear my Big Bad Bruins shirt today because they're on a 3-game losing streak. They're still the number 1 team in the league because they were so far in front, but 3-game losing streak. Yikes.
So you mean big bad, not ironically. It's been a big bad couple days for those Bruins.
Bad. Yeah, they've been real bad. That's why I'm wearing it, because I have a shirt when they play good. I have one that says Big Good Bruins. So I wear that.
It's not close enough to the Stanley Cup playoffs yet. I haven't checked in yet.
Yeah, that's fair. You're allowed to. That's one sport where you're allowed to get ramped up when the playoffs come around, because the playoffs are just better. It's like they flip the script. They change the script. You get a new script from Arian Foster when the playoffs come around, and it just says, be more exciting.
I remember my first year really watching the NHL playoffs. There was a girl at my work. She was from Canada, had moved down to Georgia, and she was running an NHL playoff bracket pool for everybody at the office, right? And so we all made our brackets, and I'd never really followed hockey at that point. And she told me like, oh, like the 1 seeds never lose in the first round. You can just go ahead and move them all on. And every single 1 seed lost in the first round of the playoffs that year. All of them. Every single one.
Yeah.
We were just, every single person in that bracket pool's brackets were done after the first round because we all just trusted her.
That's how crazy it is in hockey, that there's another, on top of that, there's another curse. Have you heard of have you heard of the President's Cup?
I have not.
So the President's Cup in hockey is something they give to the team that finishes with the best record in the regular season. And there's been a long-standing curse that whoever wins that President's Trophy doesn't win the Stanley Cup. Like, I think in the last 20 or 30 years, just the Lightning have won both the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup. Like, it is just this crazy curse. And it makes a lot of sense. If you're playing hard during the regular season, maybe you run out of steam for the playoffs. But yeah, it's almost like you don't want to win that President's Trophy.
It's more about peaking at the right time instead of being dominant throughout the entire season.
Getting that hot goalie. The hot goalie. Dustin says, Bruins still looking good despite the losing streak. Well, I appreciate the support, Dustin. And I imagine the Sabres are doing something. I don't know what that might be, but I hope they are doing it well.
The condescending tone about the Sabres. What's up, JL?
What up?
You guys ready to do some Weddle?
Yep.
Yay.
Coop, you guessed the starting player 2 days ago. JL, you guessed it yesterday. I'm going to throw a starting player up today. We've done a lot of wide receivers, and I think I want to go with – oh, no, you did a running back yesterday, so the door's wide open for whatever we want to do here. I'm going to start with Mike Evans as my player.
Aaron Shampkins.
Okay. So Mike Evans is the first player. The team is wrong. The division is incorrect, but the conference is right. So this is a player in the NFC. Position is wrong. Height, they are way shorter than 6'5". It's not yellow. They're younger than 29, but close in age, and their number is higher than 13.
So those that want to play along with us at home, either pull out a pen and paper, or you can go to weddlegame.com. It's the same word for everyone every day. So if you go there, type in Mike Evans, you'll see everything we're seeing right now. Otherwise, write down now that he's in the NFC, but not the NFC South. He's not a wide receiver. He's shorter than 6'5", a little bit under the age of 29, and his number's higher than 13.
I have a guess.
Okay.
Follow-up guess here. What if we go with Saquon Barkley? He's NFC, different team, different position. We'll cover the running back position. Should be shorter than 6'5", although I don't know how much shorter. I guess he's around 6 foot.
He's definitely shorter.
Definitely younger than 29, but I think he's 26. I don't know what their range is.
I think it's within 5. Like the age range is
within
usually
2.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not.
I'm looking at the rules right now.
Okay.
And it says the number is within 2 is what it says for inches, years, and numbers of the player.
I don't think Saquon is quite 27.
Okay.
Is the only thing. But it could give us more information. Unless you guys have a better guess.
Within 2. Okay. All right. So type Saquon in.
Yeah, I like Saquon as a guess here. And he's 25, so he's older, taller than 6 feet, but close to 6 feet. And so that means we know his exact age, because if it's close to 25 and 29, they have to be 27.
27, yeah.
So we know they're 27. Not a running back, not a wide receiver, so probably a tight end or a quarterback, taller than 6 foot, number higher than 13, lower than 26, not in the NFC East or NFC South.
And okay, so it's within 2, whatever the unit is for that property, that column, and so
Yep.
it's got to be 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah. 6'2"
Right?
or 6'3".
Can't be
Which-
6'3" because then it would be close to 6'5". So
You're
it's
right.
got to be
So it's gotta be
6'1" or
6'2".
6'2".
Which means to
Or
me
6'1".
it's probably going to make it a quarterback. Most tight ends are taller than 6'2". There are some that are 6'2", but most of them are taller than that.
We know
Kyler's number 1, so it's not him.
He's too short.
And yeah, he's not.
How is Geno Smith? He's older than 27.
He's older than 27.
He's older than 27.
Yeah. How about
27? Lamar, AFC.
I'm
What
looking at the
about-
quarterbacks in these two divisions, and it's not adding up.
What about NFC West quarterback
Trey
Baker
Lance?
Baker Mayfield?
Baker's who I was going to say next.
Ooh,
What's
that
his
is a-
number though?
You guys want to guess
on the
it?
Rams?
Yeah,
I don't know what
guess
number
it.
he is on the Rams.
Give it a shot. Let's throw Baker in there.
We're 17 on the Rams.
It is Baker
Ah.
Mayfield is correct. That's the correct
Nice.
answer.
We
Before
should-
Coop even looked up the number, we got it right.
We should do the hard mode. Let's do one hard mode. Just to
I don't
see.
know that we could do the hard mode.
Of course we can, dude. Of course we can.
I had done the hard mode a few times last week when I was preparing to do the section just to see what it was about. And I got very lucky because there was no lineman.
Let's do it, dude. We know some linemen. Come on. Let's give it a try.
We'll try it one time. We'll give it one shot. I don't think it's going to go well, Coop.
We're
Who's your
going to
first
try
guess?
it once. All right. First guess is going to be Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. The position is close, but it's not that position. And that is the only correct information that we have.
So we got some good info. He's in the AFC. He plays offense. He's not tall or old or within a few digits, number 71. So give it a go.
And in the position column, yellow represents the correct side of the ball. Yeah, you're right. Tall, shorter than 6'5", much younger than 34, number much lower than 71 in the AFC.
He's shorter,
Yeah,
he's shorter than 6'3".
Shorter than 6'3". Yeah.
Let's
Younger than
go-
32.
We know it's the right side of the ball, as you said.
So guess
Yeah.
basically guess any offensive player in the AFC.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
Tall.
Okay.
He's too tall and
We
old.
got a little bit more information. He was too tall and too old. And his number was too high.
All right.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
But now we know that he's not in the AFC West or tight end.
And that he is in the AFC. Okay, let's see. I'm thinking in the AFC, not in the West, much younger, much shorter, much lower number. Let's go with Travis Etienne.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. So older than 23, but close. So they're 24, 25. Number close to 1.
Wow,
higher,
that's
so
good.
2 or
That's good
3.
news.
So we know that they're 2 or 3 number. They're 24, 25. They're not a running back, and they're not in the AFC South or the AFC West. And they're between 5'10 and 6'5. So just about every single player in the NFL height-wise is still
Hal
on
in
the
the chat
table.
said Waller.
Waller.
Waller's too
Waller's
tall.
too old
Waller.
and too old.
Too tall, too old. Yeah, because he's got to be like 25 years old. Let's see. He's not a running back.
So we actually know that this player is between 6 foot and 6'2", because that it's not yellow. So this is a player that's between 6 foot and 6'2", 24, 25 years old. Their number is number 2 or 3.
Number 2 or 3 is the crazy
Who's
part.
number 2? DJ Moore is Panthers are NFC.
He's in the NFC, yeah. Players who are number 3. There's some quarterbacks.
Yeah, this is probably, since it's not an offensive tackle, this will actually likely be a skill position player on the offense, right?
Yeah. Who are some young quarterbacks?
Yeah, they're 24 or 25. Whenever I'm looking at this, how old is Tua?
Tua is fairly young.
He's got to be a couple years younger than us, probably 25, 26.
He's number 1 though, so he's the same. Number.
So another number 1.
Um,
Buckner.
Where's Joe Burrow?
No, Hal guessed Buckner in the chat. Though Buckner is a defensive player, right? And we're on the offensive side of the ball, unless I'm thinking of the wrong Buckner.
I gotta guess. Evan McPherson.
Kicker.
Young kicker. He's number 2 on the Bengals.
That is incorrect, but it is the right division, the right number. He's only 23 years old. And this player is taller than 5'11". So we know that they're 6 foot or 6'1", but it's close to 5'11". 24, 25, 6 foot or 6'1" in the AFC North. And kicker doesn't count as offense, Coop. They're counting that as special teams. So now we know going forward that if it's yellow for offense, that the kicker doesn't count in there.
Good to know. Okay, so
they're in the AFC North, though. So if we're looking at the AFC North, Jail, you said Lamar earlier. He's a little bit too old, I think, right? Because he's like our age, and they have to be 24 or 25.
And his number's number 8, not number 2.
And his number's number 8. Joe Burrow, a little bit too old as well. Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett is too young. He's 21. He's
That's a
only
good
like
point.
21 or 22. Okay, so maybe not on the Steelers. What about the
Maybe it's not a quarterback.
Browns?
Maybe it's a wide receiver.
How old's Donovan Peoples-Jones?
He's pretty young. He's fairly young.
Number 11, though, not number 2.
And Scott Fish had just jumped in, but he's number 2 in the NFC North. That is correct.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Scott also guessed Huntley in the chat.
Ooh,
Do we want to try Tyler Huntley?
Huntley
That
could
sounds-
be right. He's number 2. I think he's number 2.
It's not the Browns because that's Amari Cooper is number 2, and he's too
Well, I'm
old.
going to try Tyler Huntley and let's see who it is. It was Tyler Huntley.
Pro
Scott
Bowler
Fish coming
Tyler
in.
Huntley.
Let's go.
How topical on that Weddle today.
Wow, dude. Look at you guys, man. Coming
5
out of left
guesses.
field. 5
Getting
guesses
that.
on hard mode. What do we have? Some sort of NFL show that we do every morning for like 110.
I just got very lucky that
Well.
it wasn't some unheard of linebacker on the Texans that I'll never guess in a million years.
101 Dalmatians 11. No, we would figure it out. We would figure it out.
Scott Fish said, I'm not even sure what is going on here, though. I just heard the McPherson guess.
And you knew. you knew.
You
knew
nailed
what
it.
was up. We did it, guys. Congratulations.
We did it. So proud of us. All right, thanks for the assist, jumping in. So we got all the pieces figured out, all the evidence, and Scott came in and alley-ooped it for us, or whatever that word is. What's the person called who throws it up for the alley-oop? Are they the alley-ooper?
Alley-opper.
Oh, they're the alley-opper.
Ali Oppenheimer.
The alley-opper.
I'm so excited to watch that movie, by the way.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, yeah.
Yeah. That's Christopher Nolan, right?
It is, yeah.
So I was excited to see it. I was like kind of checking it out on Reddit. Somebody made an amazing joke. They were like, knowing Christopher Nolan movies, our ears are just going to be completely destroyed, and then Oppenheimer's going to come in and be like, "How you guys doing today?" The mixing on his movies, I love his movies, but like I have to put subtitles on for those. Like I could not watch Tenet without, like, 1 second it would be so loud, and then I couldn't hear a single word that they were saying.
Maybe that's a TV thing. I don't know. I never
You
noticed that.
don't
That's
run
funny.
into that with Christopher Nolan. Joey Wright, tell me Christopher Nolan's
I
got
have
some
not known that.
mixing issues. Yeah, but you are a subtitle guy in general, are you not?
I am. I always got the subtitles on.
I'm a
Okay.
subtitle guy too.
See, I don't really do that, but I
I
will.
changed.
I will if I have. If I have to, I will. And
Oh,
with
I want
Christopher-
subtitles on life.
Christopher
The only
Nolan,
time I don't have subtitles on is if it's like a game show where the subtitle showing up before the answers revealed would spoil it
Yes.
in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form.
Or comedy specials. I
yes.
turn them off. Yeah.
Spoils the joke if you read
It
the
spoils the
punchline
joke.
before they say it.
Yep. 100%. So we turn them off for comedy specials, but everything else they're on.
Tim said, "Just hear better." Subtitles stink.
great point by Tim. I mean, dude, you're missing part of the movie. That small strip of the movie at the very bottom.
And maybe you guys are missing part of it too. The part that you hear.
You're missing some words that we know. We
Yeah.
can hear. We hear
Because I pick up
everything with
on
our
way
eyes.
more when I
Tim-
have subtitles on.
Tim and I here at high level. Plus, you're too busy looking down at those words instead of watching the people, dude. You're missing facial expressions.
Yeah, you're missing
Ever
audio.
heard of
Missing words.
Periphery?
Can't. Nope.
Peripheries is a band.
Yeah, Coop. That's what we're
Peripheries.
talking about now. I
We're
just
talking
changed
about the
I
band.
just
Yeah.
changed the topic. I'm no longer talking about the ability to see subtitles. We're talking music. And you ever heard of Peripheries?
No, I've never heard the Peripheries.
Wow. Yeah, maybe learn a couple songs first before you start talking about
Tim,
subtitles.
I don't go to the movies to read. Checkmate. Checkmate, atheists. Got you there, boys.
Well, I always bring a good book for the commercials.
Just in a dark theater, trying to like with your phone light.
Just pissing off the entire
One of those
theater.
little clip-on lights. You clip it on for.
Absolutely, guys. We're about to get into a segment we call Unpopular Opinions. Before we do that, though, I want to remind everyone that right now, Better Sports Network is sponsored by our friends over at Lucra. They're redefining friendly competition. You can compete in the games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Watching the Pro Bowl this weekend, you want to make a bet on who is going to perform better in the water balloon toss. You can throw that on there. Or if you're watching the NBA games on a Wednesday night, you think one team's going to win, your buddies think the other team, you can throw it on Lucra. Use promo code BSN when you sign up, and you're going to get $10 free to play with. So go and download Lucra now. There should be a link right underneath my face if you're in the BSN app or on bettersports.com. Download it. Play on Lucra. Guys, we got to get into some unpopular opinions now. And Coop, you had one in the cannon, ready to go the last time we did this segment, and then we cut you off because we didn't want to hear it.
Well, I also kind of managed to skirt around it because I didn't want to share. So I at no point did I stop you and be like, you were like, let's get on the next segment. At no point did I say, hey, I didn't get a chance for everyone to disagree with me. So I just kind of let it slide on. I do have an unpopular opinion. Also, just wanted to mention, I just looked it up, and you guys, I thought that would be an unpopular opinion that you guys like to read your movies, but apparently, according to The Guardian, according to Netflix, 40% of viewers leave the subtitles on at all times as well. So you guys aren't weird. You're just in the minority by a small amount. Anyway,
there you have it. People have different opinions. Turns
out people are allowed to have different opinions. Some people will be wrong, and some people will watch movies without subtitles. So my opinion is a football opinion. I know we can do any opinions on this, but my opinion is a football opinion. And I know that this is unpopular because I've had people get very upset with me on Twitter for talking about this topic tangentially, like not even going as far as I'd like to go, which I've never even mentioned this take on Twitter. But I have mentioned that I don't like seeing these crazy hits, and I say pointing out that certain hits are a flag, and it's a stupid decision to hit guys like that. Like, for instance, the Derwin James hit where he got ejected from the game. I was like, that was a dumb hit. And people were like, oh, you're making football soft. You should play flag football. Like, people are DMing me getting really drunk and upset, right? I'll take it a step further that I've never mentioned this take on air or anywhere else. But I think that more players should slide. And I'm not just talking about Jalen Hurts not sliding last week when he probably should have, getting popped. I think that regular players, wide receivers, running backs, whoever, should spend. Honestly, there are situations where you should just slide. You should just give yourself up and go down. If you're a star player, right? And I've seen guys do this before. I've seen Julian Edelman do it, where he's about to get crushed by two safeties and a linebacker, and he just kind of like goes down to the ground, and they come over and touch him. And nobody at that point, because Edelman had so many concussions and he's like the smaller guy, nobody would say anything about Edelman doing that. Nobody said, why didn't Edelman lower his helmet and try and run over these five guys? Why didn't Edelman leap into the air and try and, pull a Javid Best and do a flip over everybody? Javid Best ended up out of the league in like 2 or 3 years with concussions. Why can't other players, if it's an obvious situation where they're not going to, run this guy over, why not slide? Why not preserve your health and continue to play? So that's my probably unpopular take, is that sliding, not only do I think more quarterbacks should do it, but I think there are a lot of situations where there's no reason for you to try and run over four guys. It's okay to give yourself up at times if it's that type of situation. So
I'm with you, Coop, because like right now it's almost like it's considered a virtue to put your health second in situations like that. Know what I mean? Like people like, oh, he always fights for the extra yards. He's got that grit. He's got that fight in him, right? But really what we're saying is we value your ability to put your health secondary over the result of this play. And that's a skill that we want. Like I'm all about flipping the narrative on that. Health should be a top priority. I'm with you. I do think that's unpopular. And I can see the angry comments now calling you soft, saying back in my day, like you wouldn't have lasted a second back in my day. I agree with you though. I'm with you.
Like, going out of bounds too. Like there's so many times where I see these guys like just bone jarring hit at the sideline that results in the player going out of bounds. Like he knows he's going out of bounds. It's like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Yeah, like why put yourself to the extra risk there?
Right.
Scott Fish in the chat said, I agree Moore should be able to slide, but also unnecessary roughness penalties on scrambles have been through the roof for years. I wonder if we can make some of them 5-yarders versus 15.
That's true. I do hate when a guy comes in to lay the hit and the slide is what makes it a hit to the head, right? Like where it wouldn't have been his head if he didn't slide. So you're right. That is a tough call, a tough bang call there. And if wide receivers and running backs started doing that, they wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt. Just this weekend, I saw a clip of Joe Mixon clearly out of bounds, and he gets shoved to the ground. Worse than Mahomes did at the end of the game. But because he's a running back, it's like, oh, yeah, beat him up. Who cares, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was clearly out of bounds, and he was actually out of bounds. Mixon was out of bounds while another player was hitting him as he went out of bounds, and then a second player came over and hit him again while he was already out of bounds. And the refs are just like, that's what you do to running backs. So, hey, forget about it.
Tim in here said Diggs slides or drops just about every catch in the middle of the field. Just throwing shade at Diggs
slides or drops.
And Scott also said, but yes, agree with Coop. I agree with this take, Coop.
We're in.
We got Hal over here saying the only problem is, Coop, that most players don't have the situational awareness to know when to slide and when not to. Maybe a third of the quarterbacks even have that situational awareness.
Very true. And then Tommy saying, Coop, I usually agree, but not here. Yeah, I figured Tommy, Raiders fan, old school, would not be a fan of that. And he did point out Derrick Henry safer running than sliding. Probably true. Probably true.
Yeah, that dude's probably safer on his feet. Everyone else should slide. Like, instead of tackling Derrick Henry, the defender should just slide in front of him. They're going down anyway.
Yeah, in terms of a situational awareness,
they just stiff arm themselves in front of Derrick Henry.
There's only been a handful of times, honestly, where a quarterback slides and you're like, oh, he should have got that first down. Most players, I'm not talking about like at the sticks where you need to get the yardage. I'm talking about like Marquise Brown catches a ball over the middle of the field and he's about to get crushed by Derwin James. Should he fight through that play, or should he live to die another day? That's what I'm talking about.
Live to die another day.
Right.
That's what we're all doing, man. God, I swear, like 2 or 3 times a week, you guys say something that's just like puts me into like an existential funk for the rest of the day, getting me on death or time.
You guys remember last year that college player did the fake slide and
it was Kenny Pickett.
That was Kenny Pickett?
That was Kenny freaking Pickett is who it was.
I did not make that connection. That was Kenny Pickett.
That's a trash move. That should be on sportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, but it was hilarious.
I think they did. Didn't you say they called it back, Simon, or they ended up
they made a rule. There's a rule. There's an NCAA rule now against the fake slides. You'll be down where you started the motion instead of just after the slide. But it worked. I mean, like it was within the bounds of the rules. He's a punk for doing it.
Let that play ride.
I believe so, if I remember correctly.
That's so messed up.
I'll tell you what, the fake slide, so there's only one time where the fake slide is cool, and Kenny Pickett is the only person that did it before they made a rule where you can't do it.
The first time.
The first time, everybody's like, sorry, no rule. Like, okay, that was cool. We'll allow that. But now that there's a rule against it, it's no longer cool.
It's like the I forget who it was. For some reason, I think it was Arkansas State, where their punt return, they just had everybody lay down on the field and not move. And the first time you see that, you're like, oh, what the hell are they doing? That's cool. And then the second time you see someone try it and it doesn't work, you're just like, you idiot. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But like, you give props to the first team to try someone just like everyone lay down flat, see what happens.
See what happens. It turns out the ball just gets kicked and rolls out. All right.
I just pulled up a clip of the fake slide. Keith, see if you can pull that up for us. And I've changed my opinion. That is trash. That is complete trash, dude. Like everyone stops, and then he runs for a 58-yard touchdown.
It's such trash. Just like just taking advantage of a thing meant to protect you.
I don't support it at all, but I love it. If that makes sense. No, he was wrong. He should not have done that. That was detrimental to, exactly like Jail said, a mechanism that's there to protect players. But man, was it funny? Like
so dirty, dude. So dirty. It feels wrong. Like I thought it would be. He did it perfectly too. Perfect execution. But
that's what I'm with Hal. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what I'm not hating Kenny Pickett. I hate what he did, but it was so funny that he did it.
Hal's right though. Like that's why this one time. Like if that was an illegal move,
hate both. I have enough hate for both.
Yeah, I have enough. If that was an illegal move and it didn't get called, then I would hate it even more. The fact that it's technically allowed. All right,
so,
Kenny.
Yeah, I'll let it slide, but I'm definitely going to judge.
Nick was asking, how do we feel about the fake spike? And Tommy bringing up Dan Marino's fake spike. Nick bringing up a couple TDs Aaron Rodgers has pulled off from it. Similar feelings on that. Like if it's within the rules, go for it. I kind of view that one close to like a fake punt, even though it is to down the ball because it's not for player safety. Like that's not why you're spiking the ball.
It's a little different because it's not for player safety. It is, I still think, against the spirit of the game where like it's tough to tell. Like all of a sudden you now have to defend against fake spikes all the time, which is going to put you in a position where you have to decide whether you're going to commit a penalty by hitting a player after the play's over or letting a giant play occur. And in that case, I don't think it's smart to put your players in that type of decision.
I hate to interrupt. We have breaking and important news, everyone. Tom Brady has officially retired. Released a video that Keith apparently has up and ready to go. Keith, can we see the video?
Damn, I was not
Morning,
expecting
guys.
that on him.
I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Well, damn, maybe I should have watched that before watching it on air. That dude got me a little emotional. That's the most genuine and vulnerable I feel like I've ever seen that man.
That's the greatest quarterback all time.
That's wild. I think that also hit me during that video is that we're done watching Tom Brady play football. We've got to watch one of the greatest athletes of any sport play for my entire NFL memory.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty wild, man.
There he is, dude. Tom Brady hanging it up, and it seems pretty official this time. So
yeah,
I wouldn't expect to unretire this time
after that video.
The tongue-in-cheek comment. That's where I started. That's where he won me over in that video. Whenever he said, "You only get one long-winded emotional retirement letter," and I used mine last year.
Used it last year. Yeah, there it is, dude. Greatest quarterback all time, hanging it up.
Tim said he's not done. February Fools. Tim's not buying it. Says Tom.
February Fool's Day.
I think he's done. That's wild, man. Was not expecting that. Tommy in the chat saying much respect, but time is right. Joey saying the GOAT, and Illmind saying I give it a week. We'll see. And Tommy's excited about it. Man, truly going to be weird watching the NFL without Tom Brady next year.
Oh, that is sad. That is sad, Simon. Until you said that this is the last time we're going to watch him, I hadn't really hit me. I just assumed he'll be back.
Right? That's a little weird. But we're seeing like a full changing of the guard for like these elite quarterbacks, right? We started seeing it. It went from like the Manning brothers kind of passed the torch down. Aaron Rodgers is getting up in age. Tom Brady retired. And we're seeing Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields start stepping up. It'll be exciting to see. We'll never get another Tom Brady, but who that next, the next generation of superstars is that we get to watch for the next 10 plus years.
Yeah. And I think the way it goes is that, I always say, greatest quarterback all time, but there's different flavors. You know what I mean? Like we've seen back with Dan Marino and Joe Montana. Joe Montana was the winner. Dan Marino was crushing the stats, right? And we saw that with Brady. Brady won more, but Peyton Manning had the fundamentals. He had the stats. We're always going to see different flavors of these guys. You know what I mean? So you're going to see Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence. That doesn't mean it's not exciting to watch these guys play, and we shouldn't measure them up against 7 rings. That's not fair.
I'm sorry, Coop. Scott Fish, Joey in the chat. Very nice response with you saying thank you for the last 3 years, Tom. Seeing the Bucs in the playoffs is a rare sight for us. We got to watch the greatest in real time, whether you rooted for him or against him. Scott Fish came in and said, Joey, he's not in the chat.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you got me with that one, Scott.
That was good. That was good.
And Scott also letting us know he's now older than all NFL players with the retirement of Tom Brady. Congratulations, Scott.
You did
it.
Well done.
You did it.
Now you can officially refer to every player in the league as this kid. Now you can say those kids out there, those kids that play on Sunday. Before didn't have the ring to it, but now you can officially get it done.
It must be Jay here in the Front Yard Fantasy chat saying, "Wow, I feel like I'm gonna cry," from the FYF account.
Officially, or was that you, JL? And JL's just trying to play it tough, like, yeah, must have been Jay feeling like he's gonna cry.
That he's gonna cry. Yeah, it wasn't me.
Couldn't be me.
Oh, look who it is. Look who just showed up in the chat.
Jay saying Brady is the undisputed GOAT, even more than your 2-time Super Bowl MVP, Eli Manning, Jay.
We need an answer to that.
Eli.
Sorry, I got quiet because I immediately started burping loudly in my mouth and didn't want to just subject everybody to that. Exactly. There was like gurgles and bubbles.
Brady's the GOAT and Eli is the GOAT Slayer.
The butcher.
And
Eli the butcher.
Eli's making birria tacos, baby.
Yeah, he's making shawarma.
He doesn't quite know what it is. He's just excited. He's just hungry.
Yeah.
Well, John Luke, we were doing some unpopular opinions here before Tom Brady retired in the middle of it. Coop had one for us. You got an unpopular opinion for us?
Sure, I do. This one I go back and forth on because I don't know if it's fully my opinion. I agree with the premise of the math, but it still is a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow. Let's just say that. You guys know whenever you're stuck in traffic and there's one of those lane to the most right that's kind of open that people use. They go in there and then they drive up the open, and then they cut in whenever it merges in.
Are you talking it's a real lane that like is maybe an exit only lane, or is this like the emergency vehicles median on the side?
No, not the emergency vehicles median, but an actual legal lane.
Okay. I got you. Just wanted to clarify before we went further.
Well, it actually helps traffic if people use those lanes, because there's more area that people are using. And while it does create more of a crunch at the end, the math says it's smarter to have people go into that lane and merge at the end than to leave it open and keep some sort of fair queue. So my popular opinion is people should be allowed to do that. In fact, it should be a normal part of our culture is going over into the open lanes and merging over.
Going as far as you can down and then merging over.
Here's my only issue with that. I agree with you. In an ideal mathematical model where all of the vehicles in said model are behaving as expected, that makes the most sense. Unfortunately, every single vehicle is being manned by an erratic and irrational human driver. Okay. So like, it just doesn't quite work the way the model works. I agree with you. And I think that's probably where your conflict comes from in your mind on whether or not it applies. Is in theory, that sounds great, but it requires everybody participating in the zipper merge. You know what I mean? Everybody admitting one car here, one car there, one car here. And people just Everybody on the road, I don't know what it is. They get behind the wheel of their car and they're like, every other driver is my enemy and has nothing but poor intentions for me. And then they just like assume the worst of every other vehicle on the road. Like you'll turn on your blinker. There will be no other cars in the entire world. And the car 400 yards back will slam on their gas to make sure you don't get into the lane in front of them.
And JL's there with his window rolled down. Everyone's giving him the finger as he's passing them all. And he's like, mathematically, I am right.
What are you waving around?
Enjoy traffic, suckers.
Coop, what did you just wave around?
This is the it's my like a wrist protector for my keyboard when I write.
I just saw this like floppy,
keyboards,
floppy long thing waving around. I was like, what is that?
JL in his car.
Windshield wiper.
Mathematically speaking.
Coop's like, yeah, I just got done mowing this one.
Mathematically speaking, I'm not a jerk. You guys are the jerks. What is that? What is that implying? That this looked like a penis? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
We'll
never
never.
know.
Yeah, that's my unpopular opinion.
What was it again? I forgot. Coop's penis distracted me.
Something about merging, zippering.
Oh, yeah, zippering. I don't disagree, JL, mathematically, but I disagree in practice.
Is it better if I sit here and go like this?
Yeah, that makes it much better, Coop. That makes it significantly better. Also, Tim had something to add to yours, JL. Said you shouldn't merge right to skip up and merge left. Got to be in the right to start. You just
Unless
shouldn't
the right is
prioritize getting over early. Oh, so you're taking it a step further.
No, I think that's the part of it. Is that if you have open lane that is not being used, it makes sense to use it. Otherwise, you're just creating more of a bottleneck.
No, in theory, all lanes should be being used equally. And I think the reason that lane's empty is because everybody's getting over early, right?
Yes.
It's like if everyone followed this rule, I think then Tim's rule would be applied. But while we're trying to get that rule into practice, Tim's rule doesn't apply yet.
Right.
Now, when the ambulance comes and everyone has to move over, are you the guy that jumps in right behind the ambulance and just kind of
Absolutely not. That's illegal, Coop.
riding behind the ambulance?
If you're not 50 feet behind, more than 50 feet behind it,
So once you hit 50 feet, you're in there.
you're fine. But then you're in traffic. Other people are there too.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta get in there early and then back up to 50 feet. I think that's the play.
All right, Simon, I think you're left out here.
I am. Keith in here had one for us. Said, I have a special today only unpopular opinion. Good riddance, Tom Brady. He's happy he's out of the league. Well, that's coming from a Jets fan, though, so makes sense. Makes sense. A Jets fan is going to be a little bit grumpy. Okay. My unpopular opinion, and I think this is pretty unpopular, and it's not going to be shocking to some of you. You know this about me, but there is a beloved musical artist. I feel like most people have generally positive opinions on this band that I cannot stand. It is like the voice of the lead singer of this band is like nails on a chalkboard to me. It immediately sends me into like legitimately an angry mood. The Rascal Flatts are unlistenable to, like truly. Life is a highway and I want to ride it all night long. That's what it sounds like. It's like nasally and gross. And like, that's the face I imagine the lead singer has to be making. I'm sure they're nice guys, but I just can't listen to it legitimately for more than a song before it makes me angry. It's infuriating.
Simon, do you know who the lead singer of Rascal Flatts is?
Guy with spike hair that kind of looks like Guy Fieri, knockoff beardless Guy Fieri.
It's Guy Fieri.
No, it is not.
I was
Guy
100%
Fieri.
gonna say Guy Fieri. You just stole the joke when you said Guy, and I was like, ah.
It is bargain bin, great value, Guy Fieri.
It is exactly Guy Fieri.
It's
the same guy.
Life is a Highway isn't a Rascal Flatts song. That's Tom.
They did a cover of it.
They covered it. So
yeah.
Even that
makes it even worse to listen to.
And there are people out there that are like, yeah, Rascal Flatts, Life is a Highway.
100%.
Illmind Jedi said Rascal Flatts slander. Simon canceled.
Wow, he's canceled, dude.
Tyson in here said unpopular opinion. Nickelback is a very good band.
Tyson, you know what, Tyson? I'm not all the way on your side here.
He's
But
like,
I
I know.
do think Nickelback gets a much worse rep than what they actually are. I think Nickelback's a fine band with some bangers of songs.
I'll tell you
and
right now.
Of course you do.
If I had to pick Nickelback or Rascal Flatts, I'm picking Nickelback every single time. Every single time, easily. They have bangers for sure, dude. They have killer songs. Dude. What that song that's like,
look at this photograph. Every time it makes me laugh. I don't even know if those are the words.
Playing baseball in my bathroom. What's that one that's like, they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
I feel like Nickelback gets all the hate that Creed should get.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Like it should all be directed at Creed, but instead it's directed straight at Nickelback.
Creed's kind of dope too, dude. With arms wide open.
I'm just the least surprised by Coop's music taste so far.
Kevin Gates loves Creed. Did you know that about Kevin Gates? He says his direct quote was, "That mofo will touch your heart whenever he sings."
Kevin Gates, the rapper.
Kevin Gates, the rapper, loves Creed.
Oh my god,
Helen
that's really funny because he's like super hard,
right? But that dude loves Creed, and Hal said Creed is worse than Nickelback. I agree.
Yeah, I think they're both awesome. Which Creed, Nickelback, yeah, Nickelback greatest band all time or tied for first? Where do you guys rank them?
Nickelback,
greatest band all time or tied for best?
Abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
abstinence.
Agreed.
I'll let you know when I'm married.
I don't know. I don't know any Rascal Flatts songs. Apparently, I know one cover that they have now.
Ladarius said, I won't accept Nickelback slander on here. Hey, we're hyping up Nickelback.
Yeah, Nickelback's sick, dude.
Some of us are.
There's some songs that you like. What's the second best Rascal Flatts song besides that one that they stole?
Well, it's another one that I don't know if they stole it or if someone else stole it, but it's the one that Joey mentioned in the comments. They go, I can feel the rain on the roof of this empty house. That don't bother
I hate
me.
this segment so
But
much.
you know what's so much better is the EDM version. What hurts the most? The Cascada version of that same song.
And
They're
it's like,
playing. You're 19 years old in a bar you shouldn't be in, and they're playing that, and you're just dancing like crazy.
It sounds like you know a lot of Rascal Flatts songs, and you
Yeah,
know almost all the words to that particular one and two versions of it.
Well, I know the words from the other version that slaps.
So, Jail, you like Rascal Flatts?
I am indifferent.
What are you listening to right now?
Right now, I'm listening
Rascal
to
Flatts, actually.
I actually don't want to say what I'm listening to. I'm listening to Drake.
Yeah, you just made that up. You're definitely listening to 6ix9ine or something. That's why you don't want to.
No, Broke Boys. Broke Boys by Drake.
Drake is dope, dude. I will say.
And Illmind said, greatest rock band, Green Day, and his fave is Fall Out Boys. I saw Green Day for my 10th birthday. That was
I saw
my
Fall Out Boy for my not birthday.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that, dude?
The Fall Out Boy one or the
the
one that Simon said we went to? Fall Out Boy is sweet. It was thanks for the Memories tour. I won the tickets on the radio. My dad and I went. Sweet.
Yeah, I went with my dad to Fall Out Boy. Me and my friend went with our two dads, and I think I've told this. My friend's dad just complained the whole time how it wasn't Motley Crue.
Did you and your dad both get dressed up like emo punk style?
No, we got dressed up as traditional Dutch men and went to the concert.
You wearing like wooden like clogs?
Yeah, we had wooden shoes on 100%. Guys, coming up, we're going to play some Fantasy Detective. Then we've got some Hypothetically coming your way as well. Then we're going to talk trade values using our friend PeakedInHighSkool, aka the Trade Daddy's Trade Charts. If you're enjoying what we're doing over here, you should head on over to our YouTube channel if you're not there already and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any of the nonsense and goodness that we're putting out here at Front Yard Fantasy. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah until he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
Your wife did a good job.
yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we could probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
what I love.
satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right, he's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player's just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it, which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players just slamming them down. It's like they've become Gilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is February 1st, and we are deep in the beans. What kind of beans are we in today, JL?
Frijoles.
Just the Spanish, just beans.
Yeah, beans.
What's your favorite kind of beans? Beans
kind of beans.
A real bean. None of those beans for your fake beans. We got Hoove in here. Said, my boys, what's up, Hoove? You sexy man in the chat. Welcome in.
Tommy with his controversial take that Led Zeppelin's a good band.
What?
Very controversial, Tommy. Appreciate you weighing in with that.
Don't get crazy there, Tommy.
Yeah.
Tyson said, burn it to the ground, Rockstar. If today was your last day, Nickelback goaded.
Dude. It's funny how every person
3 Nickelback songs, but you read it like it was a sentence.
Burn it to the ground, Rockstar. If today was your last day, Nickelback goaded.
We found out today that everybody here likes Nickelback except JL and Tommy.
JL just read that like it was a sentence.
But
JL's like, Nickelback released a new book. It's just one poem. He just reads the songs like man, I really thought this was going to be longer.
Burn it to the ground.
Rock
Rockstar.
JL gets the new Taylor Swift album. He's like, you guys read it yet? I didn't really get it. It's like snow on the beach, bigger than whole sky maroon. I don't
Spending
understand.
$30 for very short poems that are immediately on the back of CDs.
Everyone's talking about Spotify as a music service, and you're just like, yeah, it's my favorite poetry service.
My favorite poetry service. I love the lyrics.
Also, Scott Fish in here said, wow, the NFL just announced they are waiving the 5-year wait to enter the Hall of Fame for Tom Brady and Kyle Pitts. Bold move to set that precedent.
They both deserve it.
And also, Scott coming in, Brady had 97 career losses. Kirk Cousins has 66 career losses. Checkmate, Tom Brady.
We talked about it yesterday.
Obvious.
We talked about it yesterday, Scott Fish, but there's kind of an argument that Kirk Cousins is the greatest fourth round. I mean, he's right there for the best fourth round quarterback of our generation, but possibly the best fourth round quarterback of all time. You know, quite a discussion to be had on that.
Quite a discussion, but Kirk, I don't want to spend that much time talking about you today. So
today,
no, thank you.
Maybe another time. Instead, we are going to get into our next game here, a game of fantasy detectives. We got some prompts pulled up in here. Who's running this one today? Is it me or is it you, John Luke?
It's you.
Why can't I run it?
Or Coop.
I ran it last time, actually.
I got it today. You guys will go against each other. Coop, we'll get you back in there running it. I just I'm scared of facing off against JL, so I really am resistant to it.
I'm scared. You guys do better as a team.
Well, that's why, JL. It's my philosophy when I pick a 100 in Jeopardy. If I lose to Coop, okay, I lost.
It's understandable, but you lose to me.
Ouch.
Not so understandable.
That just hurts on a Wednesday morning.
All of a sudden, the news outlets are going to be talking about it. It's going to be a whole thing.
Arian Foster is going to be saying it was scripted.
Can you imagine he shows up on the podcast the next day? That Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show, fully
scripted.
I got the script right here. It's just one line. It just says
poop. Simon Lewis.
Little does he know, I've never looked at the show sheet once.
It just says act like a buffoon for 3 hours.
Act
Take
normal.
Occasional.
It's one blank Word document that just says act normal.
Yeah, and then there's
break when need to poop.
2 lines under that. It's size 50 font. It just says Baines.
And then in parentheses in size 12 font underneath it.
Frijoles.
Well, guys, we're gonna get into our first round. Coop, from randomly decided 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 2. Oh, you're going second. That was my random number generator. You're going second today. JL, you are going first in today's game of Fantasy Detective. How this is going to work is I've got a series of clues that are going to guide you towards one specific NFL player. You get that player right, you win that round, and you're going to get the number of points based on the number of clues that are remaining. So get it on that first one. If there's 5 clues, you'll get 5. But if it's the last clue available, you're going to get 1. If nobody gets it, then nobody gets points. In the chat, play along with us. Throw your guesses in there because our contestants will have the chat closed. They're not going to be able to see your answers. I will, though, and we'll shout you out if you get it right before our contestants do. You guys ready to hop into round 1?
Now I can't help but picture Arian Foster watching the show and watching that like number generator and being like, see, it's rigged. Now for the rest,
didn't believe me.
Now for the rest of the show, see if you can figure out where it's rigged and scripted.
See if you can get Arian Foster to comment. Stop lurking and start commenting.
He's just like, see. He didn't even.
We know he's there. We know Arian Foster is there.
We know you're watching. He didn't even do a real number generator. I bet.
Well, the reason we know he's there is because he got handed his script this morning, and it said tune into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Shoot.
Someone's still just delivering scripts to Arian Foster every morning for his day. Well, let's see what I'm doing today. Shoot, I got to do laundry
just Jim
today.
from The Office pulling a prank.
Imagine if that was Belichick was just delivering scripts all around the league just to see if anyone was stupid enough to follow him. And Arian Foster was like, oh, man, I got to pull my groin again today. Not again.
Joey in here before we get into our first round. So the Bears need to be the first ones on the phone about Chris Godwin or Mike Evans if the Buccaneers are not going to bring in a legit QB. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I feel like Tyson had a real question about that.
And we missed it. Over.
Yeah, here it was. Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr next Bucks QB?
I was told to close the chat.
Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is going to the Buccaneers. It makes sense.
Aaron Rod, dude, I don't know, because think about it, you already had a couple of years ago. You had to sell the Bucks on doing the whole Brady thing, and people were split on it. Then they won the Super Bowl, and everyone was like, "All right, that worked." I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would want to go through that again. You think the whole temporary quarterback idea,
the whole bringing
Winning a
one of the
Super Bowl
quarterbacks of all
parade,
time,
next
franchise.
season. So he's there for 3 seasons. One season he wins the Super Bowl. Next season he leads the league in passing yards. It's like exhausting, right?
Yeah, do they really want to go through all that again?
True. Okay, so maybe they would. Maybe of all the teams, they would be the most accepting of it because they've seen it happen. But I think most teams now that Brady did what he did and Matt Stafford went to the Rams and won a Super Bowl, now the teams are like, yeah, whatever, we'll take the parade. I don't care if the guy retires after 1 year. So maybe they would be on board. I don't know. Carr seems like a buck, right?
Carr seems like a buck. He likes the warm weather.
What team would Carr, because he obviously has like the mascara look to him. He's a little bit punk rock. What team would he not look right on, you think?
The Giants.
Yeah, I don't know if you're right.
So,
they're like all American boys.
They are an all they are like the
or Derek Carr walking in there.
Packers.
Yeah, no, he couldn't. Well,
I know I could not see him on the Packers.
Yeah. I couldn't see him on the Dolphins.
Seahawks.
He would look so weird on the Dolphins.
Would be weird, yeah.
I
that
would
see
it on the Dolphins because that would be like a weird subsect of like God, like he could almost look like a scene kid in the Dolphins colors. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Where like he's got that eyeliner.
Kid. Whoa.
That would be like you have like the punk girl, but then like she has to wear like a dress one time for like you make her wear a dress for like Easter. That's what Derek Carr on the Dolphins would be.
I don't think I've heard anyone use the adjective "scene" in a long time, Simon. Maybe like 10 years.
I think it's coming back. That's my prediction for 2023, 2024.
Weird. I feel like rarely do you have a word that just like suddenly rushes back a ton of different memories. Like
right.
that.
What exactly is a scene girl? Like I know what they are. Like I can visualize them, but why do you say the word "scene" in this instance?
It just captures a very specific aesthetic. Like I can't even necessarily. It lives somewhere between like
hipster and something,
an emo and like kawaii, like the Japanese colorful aesthetic as well. Like it's got like the cutesy aspects from there with like the dark aspects from like emo and goth. I don't know.
I got it.
The Cowboys. That's where Derek Carr can't play.
Scene originated from the emo subculture in early 2000s across the United States. The name began being used around 2002 through the term scene queen, a derogatory term describing attractive popular women perceived by older hardcore musicians as being involved only in hardcore for the subculture. Interesting. And then they just took it and ran with it.
Claimed that word. I love a reclaimed word.
They reclaimed it.
They took it.
Reclaimed.
Well, guys, round one is about to get started. John Luke, as the random number generator determined, you are going first in this round. You ready for clue number one?
Yeah.
Remember, you're supposed to get this one after the second clue in case you forgot to check your script. So,
okay.
Clue number two, and then Coop, you miss it, obviously, going up to that, but like throw a real good guess out there that kind of guides him towards it.
I'll do my best.
And start.
Scene.
Thank you.
And scene girls.
Dale, here's your first clue. In 2016, this player was drafted by the San Diego Padres in the 19th round of the MLB amateur draft.
In what year?
In the year 2016. Anno Domini.
Let's go with 2016. 2016. Let's go with Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is incorrect. I like to guess, though. Coop, you got a shot?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is incorrect. Clue number two. You ready for this, John Luke? And a reminder, if you're watching, play along in the chat if you think you know who this is. Coop and John Luke will have that closed, so they won't be able to cheat off you. Here's clue number two. This player was selected with the 51st overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft. 51st overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft.
Oh, that's it.
Incorrect.
What?
Dale. It is not Hayden.
What an amazing guess.
First round pick.
What an amazing. Yeah, he was first round pick, but he did briefly spend time in the Pirates. Yeah. Wow, JL, you went off script by not getting
That was a
it
good
right.
guess, though.
Very cool. Very fun. All right, 51 in 2019. So he would be coming up on his. He's going to be a free agent next year. Is this?
What's it going to be?
I'm thinking about players. Is this? Give me one more second. Is it? You might have to bonk me. Is this
5?
Any player, just a player.
Give me a second, dude. No, don't count down.
He says no cap. I'll bonk you if I want to bonk you.
All right, I'll see you guys in like 30
is this
minutes.
Mike Gesicki? Is this Mike Gesicki?
Coop, all of that, and then you pull the wrong answer out. It is not Mike Gesicki.
Dude, who you guys? The script said that I should stall and then make a bunch of weird noises. Like I'm just going off the script that Arian Foster gave me.
You just gave him a plot mechanism to just thwart us constantly, Simon.
Well, John Luke, here is the next clue. In 2016, when this player visited the University of Alabama on a recruiting trip, Jalen Hurts attempted to persuade him to join the Crimson Tide.
Ooh, fancy.
Tried to convince him to join the Crimson Tide. That sounds like he wasn't successful.
Sounds like that.
It does. I'm going to go with Tua.
Tua is incorrect. I'm sorry, JL. It's Scoop. You got another guess here.
Is this Terry McLaurin?
This is not Terry McLaurin. Here's your fourth clue. Ilmine Jede was on the same page as you, though, in the chat, JL, guessing Tua Tagovailoa. Here's clue number 4.
For him to convince his replacement to come and replace him. That would be brutal.
Please save me from Nick Saban. I do not want to start here
This guy's
anymore.
a psycho.
Please. In his 4 seasons as a wide receiver in the NFL, this player has 3 1,000-yard seasons.
It's pretty good.
3 1,000-yard seasons in his 4 years. 1,000 yards. 1,000 what yards?
Receiving yards.
He's a receiver.
And, yeah, it is 1,000 receiving yards.
Receiving yards.
Bean yards.
Let's go with Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman is incorrect.
Dude, I got so stuck. So the reason I didn't guess for a long time is I was so stuck on Michael Pittman and T. Higgins, but they went picks like 33 and 34. So I was just like, I couldn't get beyond it. I couldn't escape it. But now I'm outside of that realm and I am alive. And I am going to say 3 1,000-yard seasons. Is it DJ Moore?
It is not DJ Moore. And here is your final clue. This wide receiver was 4th in receiving yards this past NFL season. So 4th in total receiving yards on the season. A quick recap of all the clues since this is your last one. In 2016, this player was drafted by the San Diego Padres in the 19th round of the MLB amateur draft. This player was selected with the 51st overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft. In 2016, when this player visited the University of Alabama on a recruiting trip, Jalen Hurts attempted to persuade him to join the Crimson Tide. In his 4 seasons as a wide receiver in the NFL, this player has 3 1,000-yard seasons. And last but not least, this wide receiver was 4th in receiving yards this season. And I will tell you, some people in the chat have gotten this one correct.
Oh, 3 1,000-yard seasons. I feel like I had a name in mind, and now I don't know. I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is incorrect. I'm sorry, JL. Coop, last shot for any points this round.
Lamb was a first-round pick. Was it? Second round pick. Good at football.
Yeah, good at football. That was a couple of the clues.
Is it Chris Godwin?
It's not Chris Godwin. The answer, which was guessed in the chat by both Dustin and Nick DiNuccio, was AJ Brown.
I almost said AJ Brown.
Correct answer.
I don't know why he didn't say AJ Brown.
The Jalen Hurts clue not only gave you a clue about what college he didn't go to, but was hoping to maybe, I imagine Keith put that in there to associate Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown. There was a mini clue there. Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball to AJ Brown now.
So he attempted to. Okay, so that I wasn't reading too far into that wording.
I even said AJ Brown in my mind,
succeed.
and then I just totally let it go. I think I said AJ Brown in my mind, and then kind of convinced myself it had already been guessed.
I had no idea he was drafted by the Padres.
No idea.
Me neither.
What position did he play in baseball? Does anyone know?
Shortstop.
Is that true? Or did you just make that up?
I just said a position.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
He's pretty tall for shortstop.
Yeah, I just picked one and said it. Yeah, I don't even know what sizes make sense for different baseball positions, if we're being honest.
Me neither, actually.
Center
That's
field.
just taller than I would have thought for a shortstop.
Center field sounds right.
Center field is what we got right there. Well, let's move on to our next round. The score is 0-0, but round 2 of Unpopular Opinions coming your way. Coop, you're going first on this one. And it's gone. One moment.
I'm looking at pictures of AJ Brown playing baseball, and he looks like he can ball. I mean, looks like a ball player.
Looks like a ball player. So he was definitely center field?
Yeah, and comments from him, he says, I was dead serious about possibly playing baseball for the Padres this year. That was a quote from 2022. So it sounds like it's still in the back of his mind. Like, maybe I'll play a little hardball. You know what I mean, bro?
Pull Michael Jordan.
Would be cool if his contract got traded to the Phillies.
That would be. Is that a thing?
They do that.
Michael Jordan,
dude, back to back. You probably have to start in the minors, but be kind of sick, dude.
You guys ready for round 2?
Yeah.
Let's get in there. Round 2. It turns out the reason they disappeared is because I was in the wrong place. Here is your first prompt. Coop, you're up first. This player was selected in the 7th round of the 2017 draft with the 233rd overall pick.
233rd, 7th round pick.
What year?
2017.
Yes, that's a while ago too. That's draft years. That's a million.
What does that feel like yesterday? But I know it's not.
Is it?
Give me a guess, Coop.
I'm gonna guess. Is it Jeff Wilson? Jeff Wilson?
Jeff Wilson is incorrect. John Luke?
Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly is incorrect. Your next clue, this player stands at 6 feet 4 inches and 199 pounds.
6 feet 4,
6'4",
199. It's a string bean?
Slim Reaper. Is it
string bean? Where was he drafted?
Yeah, I'm first every time on these.
6'4", 199.
Can you imagine the pants? That's the most ridiculous pant size, probably. Like a 30, 38.
Is it kicker Jake Elliott?
It is not Jake Elliott. JL, do you have a guess?
I feel like as soon as your length is greater than the width number, then you're in trouble.
You're not gonna be a good kicker.
Sorry. I'm supposed to guess, and who to Coop?
You're in bigger trouble if the width is higher than you're in chode territory.
Like if you see like a 54-30. You got different pants. You know what? People come in all different sizes, and there's a reason pants come in all different sizes.
That's right.
But I'm just imagining how ridiculous the size, like the skinny little pants that go all the way to the top of a 6'4" body that weighs 190 pounds.
All right.
Coop guessed Jake Elliott, kicker.
Jake Elliott. I'm gonna go with Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney is incorrect. Here's your next clue. In 2016, this player finished his career as Georgia Tech's all-time leading scorer with 337 career points.
337 career points. Sounds like it would be a kicker still.
You up to date on your Georgia Tech kickers?
I am not up to date on any Georgia Tech players.
I think I know it.
Is this? He was drafted in 2017.
Yes. And in 2016, he finished his career as the all-time leading scorer with 337 career points at Georgia Tech.
At Georgia Tech. Is this? I don't know. Is this Josh Johnson?
It is not Josh Johnson. Jail, you got a guess?
Harrison Butker.
The butt
Mr.
kicker?
Butt kicker 87 himself is correct. This is
Yeah.
Harrison Butker.
Why didn't I
JL.
just guess the other kicker from this game? Would have been easy.
You're going to get 3 points for getting that one, JL. Nice job. Your last 2 clues were this player was the first kicker drafted by the Carolina Panthers ever. And then the next clue was this player's Twitter handle is ButtKicker87. Harrison Butker. Coop, I was impressed that you caught
The
wind
range.
of the kicker just after the height and weight. It seems like you sniffed out that this is going to be a kicker pretty early.
You want me to unimpress you? Is that my next thought was, all right, who's the kicker for the other team? Oh, Evan McPherson. And then I just moved on. And my brain was like, Bengals won somehow. So yeah,
Yep, Harrison Butker.
Not impressive.
Joe,
He's probably the one Georgia Tech player that I can name.
I can remember a converted quarterback to a running back that didn't get much playing time because he went to my high school, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And didn't Calvin Johnson go to Georgia Tech, or am I making that up?
It's possible.
Might have. Was he a Yellow Jacket or was he?
Yeah.
There was a kid from my high school that played football at Georgia Tech. I don't
Yeah,
think he
Georgia
ever
Tech.
did
For one
anything
second,
beyond that.
you whenever you said I can name one player from Georgia Tech and it's Harrison Butker, I really psyched myself out that Calvin Johnson, no, he did go to Georgia Tech. He was a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket.
For my time.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to move into one more round here. JL has a lead 3-0 after that one. But JL, you're going first on this one. You ready for your prompt?
Let's go.
This player has 60 touchdowns on his career.
That's a lot of touchdowns.
That's let's go with Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is incorrect. Coop, you got a guess?
Yeah. Is it Zeke Elliott?
Is not Ezekiel Elliott. Here's your next question. This player had over 1,000 receiving yards during the 2014 through 2016 seasons. So for 3 consecutive seasons from 2014 to 2016, this player had over 1,000 receiving yards. John Luke, you got a guess?
2014?
2014 to 2016.
It would have been pre-Zeke.
It's receiving yards, he said too.
It's receiving yards.
Player had over 1,000 receiving yards in 3 consecutive seasons from 2014 to 2016.
Let's go with Julio Jones.
Julio Jones is incorrect. Coop, you got a guess?
Yeah. Yes'm. Is this AJ Green?
This is not AJ
Good
Green.
guess.
That is a good guess. Here's your next clue. This player was selected by the Chicago Bears with the 31st overall pick in the 2007 NFL Draft.
Wow. That's a quite some time ago.
That is a long time ago.
That's a quite some time ago. 60 touchdowns for this fella.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham is incorrect. I like the guess, though. Coop, what you got?
Is this
He's the Seahawks?
Is this Greg Olson?
Coop, JL led you to the tight end promised land. Then you finish the job. This is Greg Olson. Is going to be correct. That is going to give you 3 points as well, tying it up with JL right before the final question. The last 2 clues were this player spent all but 1 season with the Bears and the Panthers. And then the last one was this tight end retired after the 2020 season. Nice job, Coop. And Dustin and Victor coming in and getting that one at the last second. Nice job, guys.
Greg the leg.
Greg. Third leg Greg.
Don't make me beg Greg. I was just trying to think of other nicknames for him.
So tie it up.
I couldn't think of any other words that rhyme with.
You're still going, huh?
It's like, what else rhymes with Greg?
Meg.
Meg. Favorite character on
Meg
Family Guy is
Greg.
Meg Greg. Well, guys, we're going to get into our last question here. Question number 4 of Fantasy Detectives. Coop, you are up first on this one. The score is 3-3. Whoever gets this one right will be the winner. Coop, here is your first prompt. This player went to the same high school as Kerry Collins, Wilson High School in West Lawn, Pennsylvania.
What was that?
Pretty easy. Scott Zolak.
That is incorrect. JL, you're up. Do you have a guess?
Damian Harris.
Damian Harris is incorrect. Here's your next clue. This player has thrown for over 13,290 yards in his career.
13,000. What school did he? He's from Pennsylvania, you said?
He went to a Wilson High School in West Lawn, Pennsylvania, the same high school as Kerry Collins.
Very cool. 13,000 yards. How about, is it Justin Herbert?
It is not Justin Herbert. Joe, you got a guess?
Is it Patrick Mahomes?
It's not Patrick Mahomes. Here's your next clue. This player was a second-round draft pick by the Miami Dolphins.
Second-round draft pick by the Miami Dolphins. Is it Ryan Tannehill?
It is not Ryan Tannehill. John Luke, you got a guess?
I'm surprised it was not Tannehill. By the Dolphins. Second round pick by the Dolphins. I don't know. Let's go with
Beans.
Let's go with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is incorrect. Here's your next clue. The Dolphins passed over Matt Ryan to draft this quarterback instead.
Matt Ryan was a second-round pick too? That's wild.
I didn't say that. They passed over Matt Ryan. So Matt Ryan was available. They did not pick Matt Ryan.
So they could have taken Matt Ryan and they waited. Is it Josh Johnson?
It is not Josh Johnson. Joe, you got a guess?
13,000 passing yards over that long of a career? Feels like it should be more, no?
You would think.
Passed over Matt Ryan. Geno Smith?
A while ago. It is not Geno Smith. Here's your next clue. In his second season, this quarterback took over the starting position from injured quarterback Chad Pennington.
Is it Chiefs backup quarterback Chad Henne?
Coop, in the 5th round, you have pulled out the victory. It is Chiefs backup quarterback Chad Henne is the answer to this one. Nice job, Coop. 1 point for Coop.
Chad Hennington.
Keith picking the players that we all care about.
Greg Olson and Chad Henne. Justin and Victor in the chat got that one a couple clues ago. They got it with the second-round draft pick by the Miami Dolphins. Got that one. Nice job, guys.
You little smarty pantses.
Nice.
That is going to make you the winner of today's game, a fantasy detective. Put your Sherlock cap on and solve some mysteries for the rest of the day. Pip, pip, cheerio.
Big day. It's going to be a big day now.
Coming up, we're going to play some Hypothetically, and then we've got some trade values talk that we're going to do a little bit later today using our friend PeakedInHighSkool, a.k.a. Trade Daddy's charts. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Corey, Nando, and friends, presented by Mayo Media on Better Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth, I don't know the rest. The Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pops, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Oh, I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause the Babe Ruth video and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist's autograph like right here.
Yeah, you like
some digital art right here. Yeah.
Somebody needs to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
but
now
he figured it out. Like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like,
that's like Dr. J or something, right? Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like, we're gonna make baseball America's pastime. But in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get a Yankees.
You tried to say Les
Is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Oi, indeed, JL. Oi, indeed. We're about to get into a game we call Hypothetically. Joe, you want to let us know how this works? I think you got the prompts for us today.
Yes, I do. If this is your first time playing with us, it's very simple. I have a list. I actually have 3 hypothetical situation scenarios, would you rather type questions I want to propose to these contestants. They have to reply, and their only rule is to overthink their response. Fellas, you ready?
Yeah. I overthink every single thing in my life. This game was made for me.
This game was made for you. That's actually just a true fact. It was made with you in mind. Yes, 100%. Would you rather forget how to write or forget how to speak?
Does writing include, like, am I forgetting how to write, or am I forgetting, like, I can't type or text either? Like, I don't know how to form words with letters, or I don't know how to physically write.
You don't know how to, you can't write electronically or written.
I can't put words together with letters in any physical or digital format.
You have no idea how to write. Yeah.
In regards to my typing ability, so I can't speak, but do I have access to like Stephen Hawking type stuff where I can at least like type and then a robot is like,
no,
Coop,
you cannot write on the keyboard. It looks like nothing to you.
Coop says what? No, I'm saying the other way though. If I can't speak, can I type into like a little thing that goes, Coop says, what up, boys?
Like text to voice.
Coop says, a.
Yeah. I will allow that, but in the reverse situation, you are allowed to use voice to text.
I pick that. I mean, we can hash this out a little bit.
I hate voice to text. Can you imagine?
You can't fix it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like you can never send a work email again because like now it's just everything in there. The punctuation is going to be wrong. There's going to be random words that it didn't quite hear right.
I can't just say delete message. It sends it automatically.
Like, no, I said puppy. I said puppy.
You not only am I sending not only am I sending messed up messages, but if I say
why is your autocorrect doing that?
If I say delete message, it also just types delete message and sends that too.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to find a new line of work because
I was going to say
main thing that I do is write articles.
The implications of not being able to speak, though. I can't do this show. Like I love doing this show every day with you guys. If I can't speak, what am I just going to sit here silently and like?
How are you going to get into the stream?
Well, I would just type with a robot voice.
I guess you can read. You don't have to write for that. Never mind.
Yeah, I just can't write, but I can read.
You just can't type out the URL, but you can read the URL.
I would be here typing, and then my robot voice would be like frijoles.
You'd be the most annoying guy.
That I fit right back in. I fit right back in.
We go, hey, oi, and then 5 seconds later we hear, ain't.
You hear the scrambling of a keyboard, and then
we've already moved on to the next thing, and it's just so the Tom Brady I picked that one for Coop, not for me, but I assigned that one to Coop.
That'd be chill. Yeah,
I think I hate texting and the obligation of it anyways. I'm going to miss writing because, I love my fountain pens. Like I find real joy in like writing with a nice pen. Like it's just relaxing. I don't even like writing anything in particular. We can just be copying letters. It's the act of physically writing that is nice to me. But I can give away that joy in order to be able to speak, because the other thing about me is I never shut up ever. I just constantly am talking. It's one of my favorite things to do, more so than writing with fountain pens. If you told me I couldn't speak anymore, that would be a really difficult transition to being quiet. It's much harder to get attention when you're quiet.
That's true. And I do love talking, but I'm going to go with the robot voice option. And
you go the text.
I think I'm going to go with the text. I'm going, and then
I'd rather forget how to speak. Simon would rather forget how to write.
I'll just spend the rest of my life just being like, I can't talk. Like then I can get out of so many things where people are like asking me questions and I'm just like, and I'll type something, or I would just be like, I would have the type to talk capability, but people wouldn't know that. So I would just be like, I can't speak. Sorry.
Oh God,
sorry, I'm out. And then I would just hang out on Reddit and just like chill with my homies. I would just tweet, hang on.
They're
on
not
Reddit.
your homies.
Because the thing is that now I can't tweet
They don't
anymore.
love you.
They don't. But that's the thing is no one on Reddit loves anybody else.
No, it's a
So-
cold place.
Can I copy and paste?
Yeah, but you suck at it. You're just messing
No,
up
you
all
can't.
the time. Like you accidentally highlighting the entire text or just one letter. Like you can never quite highlight what you want to highlight.
The one is
which
signing
is
my
already
name
pretty much true for
considered-
me. Like I don't know about you guys. Highlighting stuff is like at times it's impossible.
Yeah.
Is signing my name, if I don't actually make any letters, considered writing? Like it will serve as a
Yes.
legal signature, but I don't make any letters. It's just squiggle,
That's
squiggle,
writing.
squiggle, squiggle. So I can never sign another document for the rest of my life.
No.
That
You can do verbal agreements though.
and I can't electronically sign them either, right?
No, not if you've forgotten how to write.
What if I have a pre-saved image of my signature on my computer that I can then just insert into documents?
The answer
I wrote it previously before the wizard cursed me with
The
this.
wizard curse. No, you cannot do that.
Stop trying to
Well-
get around it.
Those are just different ways of writing.
Well, I'm just thinking like I'm not married yet over here, right? You got to sign a marriage certificate. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow if I get off the show and I go up to my brother
I
and I'm like,
declare
hey,
bankruptcy.
I'm so sorry, Leanne. We can never get married because on today's game of Hypothetically, I chose never to be able to write again.
Yeah.
I'm already
Like
married,
stuff.
so I could just go to like AAA and give like my power of attorney verbally to my wife and have that authorized. But
You are now in charge.
you're in
For
charge.
some
of my
reason,
affairs.
when you
She already
said
kind of is.
AAA, I imagined Napa Auto Parts. Like I just imagine you walking up to the like service counter in an auto parts store.
Some dude just cleaning
like her to make decisions. Thank you.
Some dude with a rag cleaning grease off his hands. He's like, "You want me to do what now?"
Scott Vision here said, "You think that's bad, Simon? My wife still isn't used to me having 3 times the feet,
or 3 times the height." And it was all midsection, baby.
All in your toys. Whoa.
Lady Rainicorn style. And Scott Fish said the last game is eerily like the initials game I pitched to you guys. Just saying, it's basically the same game without giving an initial.
Well, we're waiting
That's
for you
a good point, Scott. I was actually going through our game pitches the other day, our ideas table that we have from all of the years, and I was looking at the initials game, and it's a good point. They were made completely unrelated. I think Keith came up with the detective concept.
We're waiting for you to come on and play, Scott. The inaugural game.
We need to revisit that game. We need to remodel it a little bit anyway. So maybe we'll work a little initials in there. We'll see.
Scott also proposed a depth chart game to us at one point that we tried out that I actually thought the depth chart part of the game was very fun. I just inserted a mini game that we will not mention in between that ruined the entire episode. Yeah. So maybe we try the depth chart game again at some point as well, because I liked that one. And Scott brought that one up to us.
When you say mini game, that ruined the episode, it reminds me of how my Stardew Valley game with my wife has been going. I wanted to give you guys an update on that. Is that it was going well to begin. We were living a happy life together in the Stardew Valley, but then we discovered fishing. And my wife has been so frustrated by the fishing game that she refuses, and she sucks at it. And I'm amazing at it. But I'm like, you know what? You will figure it out. Like, you keep doing it. Literally, the game now is we wake up, she immediately goes fishing and complains about how hard fishing is. She's catching like seaweed and newspapers until she like passes out at the dock and gets robbed, and then she wakes up in bed. That's literally that. Like, well, our save is ruined. We have to start a new game because she's. I'm not even starting a new game yet. I'm like, you got to get all this fishing out of your system, and then we'll start. So that's where
figure out how to fish on this save file, and then we'll start a new one.
She's like, "Why is it so hard?" I'm like, "Really, it's not that difficult." It's just she's just yeah. So that's where we're at, dude. My wife is a drunk fisherman, and I'm over here just like watering the carrots by myself. You know.
I know nothing about this game, so everything you describe is all I have to go off. Quite the mental image.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
Your wife, your wife goes off to be a drunken fisherman, not coming home in time
while
for
you're
dinner.
Watering the carrots.
Literally doesn't come home in time for dinner. And I'm like, you got to come back now, because if you don't get back in bed by the end of the day, they penalize you, and she never makes it back in time. It's
Coop,
super
you're
fun.
not going to get this, but I'm imagining Sword Art Online. Simon, you know what I'm talking about, where they have like the little lake house. That's exactly what I'm imagining right now.
It is very similar to that, except a lot more 8-bit.
Yeah.
Than Sword Art Online is.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry for that sidebar, but that's what's going on. It's not good.
So, Coop, you were going with you would rather forget how to speak.
Right.
Simon, you were going to rather forget how to write.
Indeed, I am.
All right. Well done, guys. Let's get into our next prompt here. Would you rather be an NBA star, an MLB star, or an NFL star? A NFL star. That's tough.
I just realized that I am supposed to record a podcast right after this with the Fantasy Pros guys, but now I can't because I said I can't speak anymore. So baseball, basketball, or football, those are the options.
NBA, MLB, NFL. You got it, Coop. Now I'm just going to get it out of the way. It's not going to be NFL for me. It's my favorite of the 3 sports, but it is the most brutal of the sports. It's the shortest average career. It's the most detrimental to your health. I'm not doing it. I love football. It's the one I would want to play the most, I think, but I just can't do it. So football is off the table for me. I value my brain a little bit too much to get out there.
Now, yeah, I mean that's the thing about it is it's the same thing that goes for like astronaut. Is that like everybody wants to be an astronaut until you have the options to do anything, right? Because it's like, oh well, astronaut compared to like being Jeff Bezos is actually like terrifying. So I don't know if I'd want to go with the scarier job.
Jeff Bezos is a weird pick because he kind of is an astronaut now.
Yeah, but he's not like a voluntary astronaut. He's an astronaut for fun. Yeah,
one of the few of the people you could have picked that owns a space company.
Well, that's the thing. Why would I be an astronaut if I could just be a multi-super billionaire that's also an astronaut? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I have no interest in going to space. I'm good. Like, I'm not going to discover anything.
Now, I got a question for this. And this goes for all three of them. Now, when you say star, it's guaranteed that I'm a star, right? So it's not just like I get into the league, but then from there, I have to I don't have to struggle as like a minor league baseball player.
No, a star in all three categories.
Star in all three categories. Okay.
All respective categories here.
Do I get to pick my position specifically for baseball is what I'm wondering. Because in basketball, I'm not as concerned about it. But in baseball, I get to pick my position.
All three of them you get to pick.
Do I get to pick my team? Do I get to pick my team?
No.
Oh.
Because normal athletes don't get to pick their teams.
That's true. I mean, depending.
Maybe on your next contract.
If you're LeBron James, you do.
Sure.
Yeah. But like, dude, being shortstop for the Red Sox. So tight.
Here's after watching football, I think of those two sports that I prefer watching, it is without a doubt the NBA. And if I'm an NBA star, I'm imagining what also comes with this is I can dunk. Like, that is a skill that I have always wanted, to be able to dunk on a 10-foot rim. And I'm not just kind of dunking. I can do like the showboaty dunks. I can go between the legs. I can go full windmill. I'm dunking over people. Like, there is every single time a video comes up of someone just getting absolutely posterized on a dunk in the NBA, I watch it about 30 times. Like, I never scroll past it. If I can be that dude, that sounds like so much fun.
Say posterized?
Poster. You never heard that before?
I've never heard that.
Posterized. Yeah, that's when you get dunked.
What does that mean? Like, to be on a poster?
Yes, when you get dunked, getting posterized is when you get dunked on so hard that the dunk is so sick that you end up in the poster, but you're the guy that's getting the guy that's just like, that's getting posterized. Like that. That's a classic.
Tommy said in a dude's crotch.
So yeah, being a baseball player is sick. Being basketball is probably the one that's easier on the body, and you get paid. You got to think about it. Like baseball, all the money is fully guaranteed. Like the baseball contracts are insane. David Price was making $30 million a year, and the average pitcher pitches about 30 games, starts about 30 games if you're healthy the whole year. Ooh, so he was literally think about that. He's making $1 million, and the average pitcher, if you go the full game without getting shelled, you're throwing about 100 pitches. So this guy is making like he was making like 10 G's a pitch, bro. Every time he threw a ball, he's making like 10 grand. That's pretty wild. And then, basketball is, you're one of 5 guys in the court. You're a super mega star. Everyone in the world knows who LeBron James is. They know who Michael Jordan is. But I'm picking football because football's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah. Quarterback, bro. And I get to pick the position. That's what sold me. I'm just going to be an NFL quarterback. Dude, NFL quarterback's the coolest thing you could be. End of story.
You almost convinced me to go over to baseball just to be an MLB pitcher. But the other thing about basketball that's nice, and I see Scott Fish out here saying I would hate being in the sun that much.
Yeah, I do like a lot of games.
I do like the indoor games for the NBA as well. Instead of being out there, like, what if I get drafted to the Marlins in baseball and we're down there outdoors in the Miami heat in the summer? Like, ugh. Get out of here with that. I'm going to take the inside basketball. I'm sticking with it.
Even if you get a day off or two in baseball, like, guys get like a couple maintenance days. You're still playing like 140, 150 games. That's cool.
Jason, Marlins are indoors. So just take what I said and apply it to a Southern team that's outdoors.
That's too many. No, football, bro.
Take my point and move it over here.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
The Braves, they're outdoors, right?
Like, the team that I grew up going to, maybe I could have named that one.
Yeah, in the heat.
And the thing is, like, you talk about the amount of money you're making. Like, okay, yeah, like some of these baseball contracts are $500,000, but Deshaun Watson got. And I'm not saying I want to be Deshaun Watson, but he got $230 million guaranteed. Guaranteed, though. $230 million.
Clarifying.
I actually probably still would want to be Deshaun Watson, dude. $230 million. I'll go buy an island somewhere. It's
a lot of money.
I think I would take the MLB one in this one. I usually don't weigh in on these, but yeah, I think I would.
What position would you play?
I would play third base.
Hot corner.
I played third base, which is what I played when I was growing up. It was a sport I played the most growing up, and I think I would enjoy it the most. I like the outdoors. I like being outdoors playing that game. I like the environment much better than I like a basketball environment. I played both pretty heavily. I think MLB would be, and MLB, you could just be normal. You could just be like an average person and be an MLB star. Like look at like of course you have to be crazy talented, but
Dustin Pedroia was the MVP of the league.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
It's
like
such a chill dude sport. Like
you guys remember?
I love baseball.
Do you guys remember Rich Garces, El Guapo?
No.
Oh, he was one of my favorites. He was a pitcher for the Red Sox. His name is Rich Garces. They call his nickname was El Guapo, which in Spanish means handsome. And this dude was legit like 300 pounds. Pull up pictures of Rich Garces like this, and this dude is like the definition of your baseball athlete. Like this guy was chunky, no question, dude. And he was actually pretty good.
Jock Peterson's the guy for me now, the guy for the Braves. I don't think he's on the Braves anymore, right? Maybe he's not, but he was on their World Series winning team, and he wears the pearls. And he decided he's like, I just wanted something different that everybody wasn't wearing, and so he bought pearls. That's his jewelry that he wears out there, and he's got kind of like a baby face out there too. And I just look at him, and I'm like, if he's a professional athlete, I can be a professional athlete. I know that's not true because he's next to all these other absolute beasts of men. Jay said he's with the Giants now. Yeah, not on the Braves anymore.
Jay said big sexy Bartolo Colon. And Tommy said that as well.
Bartolo Colon. Now, Jock Peterson, you guys are
Bartolo Colon.
You guys, do you guys remember the funny thing about Jock Peterson in this podcast, because this is mostly a fantasy football show. Do you guys remember the fantasy football story involving Jock Peterson?
I do not.
No.
So there was a dust up during the season over the summer before a game. Tommy Pham and Jock Peterson on two different teams are like talking to each other, and then Tommy Pham slapped Jock Peterson in the face.
Oh yeah. I remember this story.
And everyone's like, what the hell was that about? And it turns out it was about fantasy football. It wasn't even a trade. It was because Jock Peterson was keeping a player. I think it was Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson was hurt, and Jock Peterson put him in the IR spot. And then when Jeff Wilson came back, he left him in the IR spot. So he was like getting an extra roster spot. And that pissed off Tommy Pham so bad that he basically smacked Jock Peterson in the face over it.
That's
I do remember that now.
Victor said Mike Trout is the worst commissioner.
Trout was the commissioner. Yeah, Trout's got to step in and handle that situation for sure.
It's kind of funny. I don't know why it's funny to imagine just like professional baseball players like handling league drama. Just like, yeah, well, he left him in his IR, and I should have won that. Like, calm down, Jock. Calm down. Like, I'm gonna go talk to Pham real quick. Just give me a second. Mike, you better handle.
Yeah, they all play. Like we had a Yankees pitcher, Jameson Tyone, on our podcast to draft a team. And he was telling us that he plays with like Aaron Judge and all these guys. And we're like, who's the best? He's like, I'm pretty good. He goes, Aaron Judge is really good. And he was like, but he kind of cheats. We're like, what are you talking about? Apparently Aaron Judge, when he drafts his team, he gets one of the analytics guys that works for the Yankees in analytics to help him with his fantasy baseball, with his fantasy football team. So he's got this like professional analytics dude crunching the numbers for his fantasy football team so he can beat the rest of the guys there.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Scott Fish said a lot of them use League Safe, or Safe Leagues has several former players. Wild.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot, dude. Yeah, third base though, I love that pick, JL, because third base is kind of it's not only a no pressure compared to shortstop, but you also get to decide if you want to cut in front and grab that ground ball from the shortstop.
Right.
So it's like the pressure's off. You can go for the glory if you want, but if you don't feel like it, it's like, yeah, it's your ball, right?
Yeah, but you get that third to first like showboat play, know, that maneuver, and everybody cheers. It's a crowd pleaser every time.
Show off the cannon.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good
All right, guys. Well done on that one. We have one more prompt. You guys ready to get into it?
Do it. I like that one. That one was fun to think through.
Would you rather be in the history books for something terrible or be forgotten completely after you die?
How terrible are we talking?
Something terrible.
Something terrible. When you say something terrible, I feel like that's not like top of the, like you're not going to be like
enough to get in a history book.
You're in the book.
There's definitely
Maybe
a
like-
threshold, right?
Maybe like
where,
a very bad precedent, but not like committed genocide, like somewhere
Yeah.
between the two.
Sure. I'll leave
Okay.
that up to you guys.
Or
How you,
something
how
really,
you
really
decide to run your.
Stupid. Like maybe
Now-
you crashed a blimp and it burned down a town. No one died, but you're the idiot who caused the blimp fire of 2022.
Yeah.
You guys tell me what you want to be in the history books for.
Now,
if you're going to choose that option,
right? Yeah, like be like Bill Buckner.
it's got to be terrible enough though.
Now, on the flip side, how forgotten about am I? Like, does like mom, like, say I died, like my mom is just like, hey, he was, who?
Or
Like,
just like your
does-
memory dies with
nobody,
your loved one.
nobody remembers. Nobody remembers me at all.
No one remembers you after a generation or two.
Okay.
So it's
So
just
just
like
like
you're just the
normal.
guy who
Yeah.
dies, and whenever people
Yeah.
stop talking about you, they forget about you. But you're not
Right.
like in any. There's nothing memorable about your life at all whatsoever.
Now-
Tim said, "I want both. I want to do something horrible and be forgotten."
Pretty good, dude. There was Trump has an advisor named Roger Stone, who I think is currently in jail, but he had this like whole thing, this like playbook. I think he might have wrote a book, but part of that playbook was his advice was get famous by any means necessary. And his examples were people like Kim Kardashian. He's basically like, as long as you don't do something that's totally irredeemable, then you can just get famous and then change the narrative. Which, you know, if you really think about it, there are a lot of people out there that have gotten famous for kind of, you know, bad reasons, you know what I mean? And then they just turn it. Like, think about like Snooki.
Rebecca Black,
right? Like, she came out with that song and everyone was like, this is horrible. But now you know who she is and she can change the narrative, right? Kim Kardashian, she
was trying to bait me so hard with that one. He was just dangling that in front of my face, trying to get me to jump in and defend Rebecca Black.
Are you a Rebecca Black truther?
I love Rebecca Black.
What's the best Rebecca Black song? Is it Friday? Imagine you said Friday. Is it?
Honestly, she has reclaimed that song, and you should look up videos of her singing it at her shows now. She like adds like some death metal and some hyper pop into it. It's a lot of fun.
Have you ever gone?
No, I've never seen Rebecca Black.
Oh, you've never gotten down on Friday?
I've never gotten down.
Is that making you rethink your fanhood?
No, if anything, my fanhood just doubled down.
Yeah.
Man,
you're getting doubled down on Friday?
My thinking here is I'm dead. And I am dead. So at that point, like, who cares if I'm not remembered? But if like my legacy, I'm thinking about the embarrassment caused to like my family and friends. So I mean, like if I did something truly awful, truly terrible, and then I have children or my sister and they have to live with the last name Grunewald, and every time, it's not a common last name, every time someone in the US sees Grunewald, they're like, oh, any relation to Simon Grunewald? And for the rest of their lives, they're not even able to like properly mourn or grieve my death because I did something terrible, and they're constantly reminded of the terrible thing that I'm remembered for. I'm dying with the guilt of knowing that my family's suffering because I was a bad boy.
You just sold me on it. I was so close to picking the other one, and I was just gonna pick. So I was gonna say like, oh, you know what? Like at least maybe I could do something. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this is gonna be a terrible take, so we might have to take this down. But like Hitler, obviously an awful person, right? But he did probably have a pretty dope like apartment. You know what I mean? So like he had like, you know, he lived a life of luxury. But when you bring that up, my first thought is Bernie Madoff, who like this guy, right? Like he had it all. He was super rich, super yachts, going to crazy parties, doing everything that crazy rich people do.
How'd you know I've been watching the Bernie Madoff documentary on Netflix? Huh?
Have you?
Yeah.
The Ponzi scheme guy?
Yeah, Ponzi scheme guy.
Oh, I didn't even know they had one. But that dude, like, so he had it all, man. He was like the man. People talk about there's a baseball player, and the chat will know, the guy who they gave this long contract to, and everyone celebrates every day. Once a year, they have to pay him still, even though he retired like 20 years ago. I forget his name now, Padilla or whatever. The Met, yes. So Tommy's got it. There's a Met player that they still pay every single year. Bobby Bonilla, that's it. Matt Better Boss in the chat. Bobby Bonilla got this crazy contract where you get money. Where they, instead of paying him up front, they said, we're going to give you money in perpetuity for years and years and years, even after you retire, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, the reason they gave him that contract is because the Mets ownership had an investment where they were getting paid out like 7, 8, 9, 10%. And that was more than the interest that they were giving Bobby Bonilla. So they said, we need as much money as possible to invest into this thing we have. So we'll give you this contract. And what they were investing in? Bernie Madoff. That's where they were getting the return. How crazy is that? So they got caught up in that scheme too. But the end of the story where Simon's part comes in is that if you look at it, Bernie Madoff's sons, unfortunately, sorry to spoil the documentary, not doing so well. One of them even committed suicide. So I'm not leaving that on my family. I would rather be forgotten than be Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, that name, it ruins the name. You take your name down with you. I'm with you, Coop. I'm sticking on that side.
Earn Dog, Bobby Bonilla, third most famous alum from my high school. Jeez, if Bobby Bonilla went to your high school and he's only third, who's 1 and 2, Earn Dog?
Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise.
Number 1, Ernie Acosta. Number 2, my sister. Number 3, Bobby Bonilla.
All right. So did you guys both chose the?
We chose to be forgotten. We chose to be
being forgotten. We're some forgetful boys over here.
I changed my mind. I want to be Bernie Madoff. Give me a yacht.
It's like I'm a bad boy at heart. I can't find it.
If you're gonna be bad, be good at it.
Coming up, we're going to talk some trade values using our friend Peaked in High School's trade value chart. But right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Your 2023 prediction on the promo that we play was the Lakers was going to make the playoffs and beat somebody in the first round.
Hey, I hope we match up against Memphis.
That's not going to happen.
I hope we match up against Memphis.
And you'll get swept.
Ain't no way we get swept.
Sweep them. The Memphis Grizzlies would be sweep. They would be laughing at them.
If the Grizzlies if the Lakers make the playoffs with AD healthy, Westbrook off the bench, and LeBron, everybody's healthy, they will beat the Memphis Grizzlies 100%.
We will be on Lucra betting on that game right 100%. Now. All right, Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Compete in the games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app right now to create a contest and bet against your friends in as little as 15 seconds. Use the promo code BSM when you sign up to receive a free $5 to play with. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better.
Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game, and Ernie let us know who the two most famous people from his high school were: Doug Marrone and Cardi B. Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, Bobby's probably third. Bobby Bonilla third on that list.
Sorry for saying Bonilla. My bad.
Vanilla Bean.
As soon as I said it, I was like, that's wrong. That's not.
God damn it.
Ooh, he said sorry for saying vanilla.
That's right. Yeah, I'll have just some vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream.
I'll take a vanilla split.
I'll have a vanilla. Yeah, you just turn into some like a Puerto Rican girl ordering ice cream. I'll have
I was imagining a 2-year-old boy, like a small child who can't say "va" yet. Vanilla, please.
Vanilla.
Also, Scott Fish in here saying Brady's Fox contract starts on retirement. Fox has the Super Bowl this year.
Conspiracy. Arian Foster. It was written in the stars.
You know how pissed whoever would have had that job would be?
Greg
Olsen? They would just be like, shut
Greg Olsen now has to go back and play football again.
And it'd be one of those ones where you'd be like, yeah, I get it. Like I'm mad, but like you're right. You're right.
What can you do?
You should do that.
Tom, right? It's like when Bobby Bonilla goes back to his high school and they're like, yeah, but Cardi B.
And he's like, yeah, you're right.
Fine, you're right. You know, that is being Greg Olson's like being Bobby Bonilla when Cardi B's in town.
And Jay said that's how his son says vanilla.
Vanilla.
He says vanilla just like that. Well, guys, I want to talk a little bit about these trade value charts from our friend Alex, aka Peaked in High School. For those of you that have not looked at them, you can find him on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF. There's a link to his Patreon in that chat as well. And you can see his free trade charts on his website. That is PeakedInHighSchool.com, school with a K, or you can find him right on his Twitter. We're going to be looking at the Dynasty ones today. You guys should check these out, look along with us, and then subscribe to his Patreon if you want access to even more of Trade Daddy's charts over there.
Wow. I'm looking at this chart now. It says it was last updated in January. Now I look down at my computer. It says that it's February.
Yeah, we haven't. It's one day into February. We'll get those February updates in about 2 weeks. We're still looking at the.
What the heck's coming on, Trade Daddy? You have to come on here and defend yourself. Defend your honor.
Jay in here says, "Where is Trade Daddy? Trade Daddy's busy doing daddy stuff. Daddy had to go to work.
Daddy had to go to work.
He's out getting milk.
Daddy ran to go get some cigarettes. He'll be right back.
Be right.
I'm sure Trade Daddy will be here any week now.
Any minute
but we got his charts. He left us with his charts to remind us of his memory at this point in time. I want to play a little game with you guys right now whenever we're looking at wide receiver value. So without peeking at the chart, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are the alone in tier 1 of the wide receivers. I want to know, who do you guys think the next wide receivers are in Dynasty from a value perspective? Who's number 3 in January of 2023 in Dynasty?
Who were the first two?
Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
So
who's number 3? It's got to be. Is it Cup?
It is not Cup. Cup's quite a bit down there.
I personally would pick AJ Brown. And
yeah.
the thing for me is, so when I look at Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, I actually have Jamar Chase ahead of Justin Jefferson. And I think that's what it is. So Jamar Chase is a first-round pick, meaning that he has 2 more years under contract, and they could pick up his 5th-year option, right? So that's 3 years he's going to be with the team. And Joe Burrow has 2 more guaranteed. And if they extend Joe Burrow, that means 3 years with Joe Burrow. You're not going to get anything safer than that. I worry about Justin Jefferson a little bit because we love him with Kirk Cousins, but you never know what happens next.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's splitting hairs. But for me, this next level is the same way. Like AJ Brown, they traded for him, they paid him. Jalen Hurts is the guy. Those 2 are locked in, peas in a pod, like peas and carrots, baby. So give me AJ Brown as the 3rd guy after that group.
He is 4 on this list, ever so slightly by only 2 trade value points to another wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is number 3 on this chart, which I was a little bit surprised by that. Like, I know going into this season, he was 3. He was 3 for me. But he didn't have the like blow your socks off kind of year that would keep him up there. But it's probably just age plus talent profile for him.
What is he, 23 years old?
Something like that.
He's very young still. He was young when he was drafted. It's got to be 23, maybe 23.
You know what? And he did finish as the PPR wide receiver 5 this year. I don't know why it didn't feel like that, but he finished top 5.
Is that good? And I think this year was a mega test because he came into the year with no Michael Gallup, and Michael Gallup clearly wasn't at full strength. So he was far and away the number 1 target on the team. No Amari, because that's the big test, right? You have Amari Cooper there, and it's like, oh, Amari Cooper's taking some of the heat off. This year, the heat was on, and he was still a top 5 guy, right? He was getting the top corner every single week. So he proved to us that he's capable. Big step, in my opinion, because to be honest, there's a couple guys that we haven't really seen do that. Like Calvin Ridley, people forget that he played, before he got suspended, he played like 6 games without Julio Jones. Didn't look good.
We got Better Boss down here saying, I will be targeting Deontay Johnson to trade for in my Dynasty leagues this season. Still has the skills. And I think with the emergence of George Pickens and the disappointing play from the Steelers as a whole this year, you probably are going to see a dip in Deontay Johnson's value. Right now, he's sitting down there, in tier 1, 2, 3, 4 around guys like Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, Rashad Bateman, Mike Williams are the names that Deontay Johnson's around right now. What do you guys think about his spot in this chart? And are you going to be targeting him like better boss?
It's actually right where I think he belongs, is in that group that you mentioned. I thought he'd be lower. I thought he'd be lower going in out of the season. He had a very good season. I feel like people were down on him coming into this season, just not expecting him to be able to do what he did previous seasons with the amount of targets. And Deontay Johnson, he's proved to us that he can consistently command a high target share.
He got like 140 something targets, right? And when you look at it, Kenny Pickett threw 7 touchdowns. Not great, Bob. Deontay Johnson caught 0, which is wild. But even with that, he was a guy who was in your lineup every single week because of the target volume. The worst case situation really is that he stays with the Steelers, right? Like, and he probably will stay with the Steelers. They traded Chase Claypool. They have Kenny Pickett on a rookie deal, so they probably will pay Deontay Johnson. So the floor is good and the ceiling is even higher, right? If Kenny Pickett becomes better, or he leaves in free agency and goes to a team with a better quarterback. So,
or if Deontay Johnson grows a 3rd arm out of his chest,
that'd be so sick. Maybe you wouldn't have. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe that would actually
exactly like that
might make it tougher to catch the ball,
especially if it's coming out like that.
You needed custom equipment.
Imagine the stiff arms. You're just holding the ball, and then from the middle of just sticking out from the center of your chest is a fully extended arm.
The NFL
is it the elbow joint? Like, is it where does it come out and
I'm
stop?
imagining like from the top, like this arm. Yeah, this arm can like wave around.
The NFL is so stupid they'd probably fine him every single week for having an illegal uniform. He's like, I need this extra hole for my arm. He's like, no, sorry.
You just see it tucked away in this jersey.
Yeah, you can't use it. Yeah, but maybe he wouldn't have so many drops if he had a 3rd arm.
Or he'd have more. We'll never know.
Or he'd have more drops.
Joey said Calvin Ridley was awful in 2022. Got me 0 points each week. I still left him in, though. Got to trust my process. You know what, Joey? Process over results. It's always what we always say here. But let's take a peek at where Calvin Ridley is on this chart.
It's got to be moving up. He was moving up, I think, last time I looked at it.
Up 2.9 points, sitting in tier 5. So a tier below Deontay Johnson, who we were just talking about. Just about even, exactly even with the running back Khalil Herbert from a value perspective, right next to wide receivers like Elijah Moore, Tyler Lockett, and Darnell Mooney. Dale, how do you feel about, or Coop, did you have something on Calvin Ridley there?
No, it wasn't on Calvin Ridley. I was going to bring up a different topic. What was your question you were getting into?
I was just going to ask, how do you feel about Calvin Ridley around those players? Because I do feel like he's one of the more difficult players to evaluate going into 2023 from a dynasty perspective.
I bought him for a 2nd round pick, and I bought him when he was still on the Falcons. And the question was whether teams were going to let him play. Because there is there's a reason, and we like to joke about it. Oh, he gambled, $1,000 on a parlay. Who cares? People are doing worse things. The thing is, it's an integrity of the game issue, which they take very, very seriously. Because you call into question, like think about it, with the NFL rigged, hashtag trending, and all these things. You start having a Tim Donahue situation. Donahue, I think it was Tim Donahue, the NBA ref who was supposedly shaving points and messing with games. Once the integrity of the game gets called into question, now you're losing people hard, right? So you cannot have that. Absolutely. So there was a possibility that they would just, Pete Rose him and ban him from the sport completely. So the fact that the Jaguars traded for him and we know he's going to come back brought him back into the realm of me being interested. So I'm willing to trade a 2nd round pick for him. I'm not trading a 1st round pick for him because he was an older prospect as it was, right? So he's already kind of old. He's already like 27, 28.
29 maybe. I think he is a little bit older. He might. I remember being shocked whenever I looked it up. He's 28, December 20th, so he just turned 28.
He was already an older prospect, and like the scary thing is, when these older prospects come out and don't play well in the new situation, their value tanks. Look at Kenny Golladay. He was one of the oldest prospects we've had in a while. Came out at like 24, and the moment he had a bad season, his value went. You can't do anything with Kenny Golladay. He's not worth anything, right? He's 29 already. So he basically had 1,000 yard season or 2, and now he's you can't do anything. So it is scary, but I'm interested. Second round pick at best.
Yeah.
I'll trade a second round pick for him as well. Jill, are you in on Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah. And now Better Boss down here also asking, how about trading for the least talked about, most exciting playmaker, Rashid Shaheed?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's even on this chart, if Rashid Shaheed has made it on here. Probably looking at the names down here.
He could scoot. Definitely interested in best ball. That's where a guy like that to me is most appealing. A guy that could run he's returning punts. He's making explosive plays, but he's not super consistent. If a guy like that in best ball, like you don't have to worry about setting your lineup. I love having guys like that. Guys that could just out of nowhere score 70-yard touchdown. I saw his name show up enough where I was like not even surprised to see it anymore. At first I was like, gee, but now it's just regular. Rashid touchdowns don't faze me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that entire New Orleans offense this offseason. I think that'll determine whether Rashid Shaheed is worth some staying power here in Dynasty.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry is a free agent. Michael Thomas is kind of 1 foot out the door. Then they got like Juwan Johnson, who is like a half wide receiver, half tight end. I mean, he could have a full role, so it could be.
Do you think the Saints, with this extra draft capital that they've acquired now, are potentially looking at moving up into one of those first 2 spots to grab a quarterback?
Potentially.
It's not crazy.
Not crazy, right? That seems like a team that could make sense for them coming into next season. Trade up and grab that quarterback.
Now's the time, dude. People always say, "Oh, we'll just wait and take one later." Dude, that doesn't work. We went through the names the other day. It's like, their 3rd and 4th round picks. You basically have like Kirk Cousins, Dak, and Russell Wilson, which sounds like a lot, but there's so many that just did nothing. For every Russell Wilson, you have like 10 Kellen Monds or guys like that. So.
Hey, how dare you disrespect Kellen Mond?
Sorry, Kellen.
Kellen Mond.
Say his name with respect.
Yeah.
The monster. Now Cleveland Brown. Already released by the Vikings after 2 years.
And Better Boston here saying, gotta move now. Can't wait for everyone to see what's going to happen.
He's worth a stash for sure. Absolutely worth a stash.
I agree with you. Also, NKC in here saying, have a good day. Bye. See you tomorrow at 7:30. We'll see you tomorrow, NKC. Thanks so much for coming in and hanging out with us.
Champ. See you then, brother.
Everybody else in the chat, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this beautiful Wednesday morning, February
Tom Brady
1st,
retirement
2023. Tom Brady retirement day.
The day that Tom Brady retired.
Let's celebrate the GOAT for the rest of this Wednesday. And you can do that here on BSN, guys. I'm sure they're going to be talking about it throughout the rest of the shows here. Coming up right after this, Moose and Keith are coming up, and Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by Fantasy Guru. And at 5 p.m., you can catch the Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by Fantasy Alarm. Stick around here on BSN. We'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time, every single day, Monday through Friday. Until then, though, we're out of here. Adios, everyone. Enjoy your beans.
Buenas beans.
Buenos frijoles.